on the holes in my shoes. I stick my tongue in the holes in my teeth. I stick expletives in the holes in my thought process when I speak. My friends stick to their guns, they got a bunch in the woods of Vermont till the end times come. But Saturn says he's gonna learn to live as if the world wasn't gonna end, and I admire his strength. So today I'm gonna do my best to drink coffee in the morning and live as if I didn't feel lonely and hopeless and helpless, to save myself for the war where I live. And tonight, when I dream, it will be that the junkies spent all the drug money on community gardens and collective housing, and the punk kids who moved in the ghetto have started meeting their neighbors beside the angry ones with the yards that their friends and their dogs have been euthanasia on. And the anarchists have started filling potholes, collecting garbage to prove we don't need governance to do these things. And I'll wake up burning Times Square as we sing. Throw your hands in the air, 'cause property is robbery. So I dip this pen in arsenic or a song for every president that won't ever get shot in the face. I wrap these strings in plastic explosives, head down to the courthouse with one cord. I level the place. So but hasn't anybody learned? Don't ever trust a man who plays guitar. The day I rob a bank, the first day I'm not lying to you or me about what I believe. If I die, then let my gravestone read rest in peace, funk, 'cause no pulse is no excuse not to dance. If I live, then let my heart be like a beating picket line. No sooner see a corpse than see a stab. Oh, but hasn't anybody learned? The last to make the moves, the first to say the words. The day I rob a bank's the first day of my life as an honest man, an honest man. The day I rob a bank's the first day of my life as an honest man, an honest man. The day I go to jail trying to rob a bank, the day I finally get what I deserve. it, I got to be able to breathe. If you can quit your job, then you can do a little breathing with me. A punk rock song won't ever change the world, but I can tell you about a couple that changed me. And so tonight, we're gonna fuck shit up. Tonight, we're gonna fuck shit up. Tonight, we're gonna fuck shit up. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. I swear that someday I'll tell you without lying, I was born to quit smoking, I was born to quit dying. On that day, not doing heroin will be easy as pissing. On that day, I'll stop talking so much shit about the government, 'cause urine speaks louder than words on a politician or on a prison warden. Urine speaks louder than words. I swear that today I was born to be living, I was born to be singing, I was born to be fighting. But will somebody say, is this resistance or a costume party? Either way, I think black with bandanas is a boring theme. I don't gotta tell ya, crackers are great with amnesia when they wanna forget something like centuries of racism. Say, look at the man on center stage and pay no attention while millions get locked in a cage. Riots break out in Oakland, but urine speaks louder than words on a prison warden or on a BART policeman. Urine speaks louder than words.
I'm just trying to hold my shit together. I am some shit I don't want to talk about. There's some shit maybe I'll talk about, but either way, let's just say I'm having a day, and my my rage meter is higher than I would like it to be. Yeah. And I'm just trying to not go off again. So, let's I don't know. Let's see this thing that somebody posted in media.
There are claims
Oh, God, I already hate this person, whoever it is.
tonight of a media stunt intended to catch out a Palestine-supporting Sydney restaurant. The owner of Cairo Takeaway in the Inner West says his staff were targeted by a hidden camera setup in a bid to get them saying something inflammatory relating to the conflict in Gaza.
What began as a simple takeaway order, a cup of hibiscus tea for the man in the white shirt and hat, ended in confrontation outside.
And I'll do exactly what you did to me, filming.
Danielle Gusmaroli is a reporter from the Daily Telegraph. With her is a camera crew and a Jewish man who ordered the tea. Workers at Cairo Takeaway in Newtown say a staff member served him just like they would any other customer, but he tried to provoke them. Employees were too afraid to speak on camera, but told 10 News First the customer said,
"Am I upsetting you being here?" And she said, "No, I'm just asking you what you are." He said, "It's because I'm Jewish."
Staff claim when the waitress walked away outside, she became aware the customer was with a camera crew and she began filming.
Who comes into a restaurant and asks me a question about this gentleman who I don't even know?
In what's alleged to be an organised stunt that didn't go to plan.
We are a small corner restaurant in Newtown that is proud to stand in solidarity with this community. which is why I believe we were targeted and harassed by a male on Tuesday.
If this incident was a setup gone wrong, it paints an ugly picture. The owner here has made accusations that these journalists tried to manufacture a story and stoke division at a time when tension in the community is already high. It's still not clear if this is indeed the case.
We will not be bullied. It's now a police matter, and hopefully they treat this matter quite seriously.
Police have formally requested a copy of the footage, while 10 News First has made repeated efforts to clarify these allegations with News Corp today, but our calls and emails were not returned. We also tried to contact the customer. Taylor Ryan for 10 News First.
You mean the News First guy? Shit was wild, man. Text, Detroit flooded and then froze overnight. Yeah, it flooded, then froze. That's not snow. That is floodwaters that froze overnight. Yep. Yep, that is. Good luck. Good luck repairing that damage. Holy shit.
You guys, all our basement is flooded. We've been calling since 1 a.m. for help and nobody has came to help us. We're just trying to leave the house, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Houses, cars. I mean, the foundations are gonna be fucked. Like everything's gonna be fucked. I'm just trying to hold it together. I am like this whole day has been just one pile of shit fuckery that's going to continue into tomorrow. It's going to continue into a while, but this whole day has just been so obnoxious for me. And it culminated in some crazy shit just right before stream. And I'm just fucking like, just, you know, just trying to rein that. Just trying to control that rage as best I can. I'm not let it get the best of me. I don't like when I feel those feelings. Cupcake, that game is not a way to get my rage level down. That game is shit. It's fucking hot garbage. Like that game was terrible in so many ways. Like yeah, I uninstalled it immediately and fully filled out their feedback form. Like I sent them like details. Like, dude, your game is garbage. Like, you have to understand it. Like, it's not like we are like I got a crew of people. We all hate it. It's not like we haven't played Sea of Thieves and had a lot of fun doing that. We're familiar with this kind of shit. Your game is hot garbage for so many reasons. Yeah, that game was not good. That game needs a lot of fucking work. Like a lot of work. Like maybe start from scratch. Karina, it was terrible. It was terrible for everybody involved. If you weren't if if you could connect, and stay connected, which only two of us, Caboose and I, managed to stay connected. All right. If you could connect and stay connected, then what you had to look forward to was a game that probably has never heard the word optimization. And beyond that, if your rig could run it, like Caboose and I could, the game mechanics themselves are hot garbage. The game itself is stupid. There's so many problems with it. There's so many problems with controls. There's so many problems with fucking mechanics. There's so many problems with the whole thing. The whole thing. It is so bad. Yeah, we were just like, I quit at a certain point, and I just like, it crashed on quit even. It was like, and crashing. I'm like, fuck this. And I filled out their feedback form, gave them tons of fucking information. Like, this is just terrible, terrible gameplay, terrible mechanics. It's miserable to play. It's not fun. You've implemented mechanics that are just stupid. Fucking, if you get killed in the game and you respawn, by the way, you gotta like pay for your respawns through bringing like goods in. It's basically an extraction shooter, but not even fun. Like, it's not even close to a fun extraction shooter. It's basically an extraction shooter. You gotta have cans of food on you to fucking respawn. And if you respawn in with literally nothing, not even like a melee weapon. And so you're completely defenseless. So if your crawler has been boarded and you die and respawn, you're just in a loop of getting killed because there's nothing you can do. There's just jack shit. Yeah, like it's just not fun as a game. The crawlers are horrible to drive. They're miserable to drive. They really are. They're stupid. They handle poorly, and even poorly for what they're supposed to be. I get their gangly fucking, like, you know, Wild West spider crawler things. Like, I get that. Even for those, they're gangly fucking motherfuckers that are just miserable to drive. You can't see for shit. The nighttime, I don't know how you're supposed to play at night other than drive the gamma through the roof on the game, because you can't see shit. Like, you just can't see shit. It's just black. You're just like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. There's no point for it to be night because you can't do anything. It's got so many problems. It was so infuriating. And so, yeah, I uninstalled it immediately. Like, I'm pretty sure we all uninstalled it. I'm like, yeah, I told them, I said, unless somebody I trust tells me in like a year or two that your game has been completely changed, there is no fucking way I'm ever playing this game again. Like, just none. It is stupid. It is miserable to play. The mechanics are completely unbalanced. It's just pointless. Yeah, it was just fucking pointless. So yeah, and it's not your fault, Karina. Fucking, I had my eye on it too. I saw a guy. I was like, hey, multiplayer, maybe we can play it. I stopped downloading. Yeah, we went over to Ranch Sim instead. Caboose, Fertus, and myself played Ranch Sim. Aspen passed the fuck out. But like we played Ranch Sim. Caboose retired around like 2:30, something like that. But Fertus and I played till 4:30, and we had fun. We had a lot more fun than fucking that other fucking game. Ugh. Times like these, I wish I still smoked weed. I tried Deliver at All Costs, a driving game recently. They're in demo. It's fun. It's cute. I hate their missions. Just driving around the open world, I'd be fine. But yeah, it's got a good aesthetic. It's got an interesting, hook to it. So if you're into like sort of like old school adjacent GTA, but with like delivery driving missions with a world that is fully fucking destructible. Deliver at All Costs. It's fun. It's free. Grab the demo. It might be your thing. You're gonna need a controller though. Just FYI, you're gonna need a controller. This isn't one of those like, oh, you're going to need a controller. It prompts you as soon as it runs. All right. You're going to need a controller. Just FYI. So either have your sticks ready or don't bother. I don't know what I want to do. Like I said, I'm just in a shitty fucking mood, and I am sort of aimless. Peaky, yeah, scroll up in DIY on this server and you'll find it. That grumble wasn't having to you. So yeah, you'll see it. See, the White House declared Trump king. He's declared himself above the law. And via executive order, all things now flow through his interpretation of the law. And the White House declared him king. Nah, it would have been fuckwits, right? Yeah. That is the official White House Twitter page, that Twitter account. Gosh, it's one thing for the nut job in chief to say it. It's another thing for official White House media to repeat it. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. But, like, but no. Yeah, this day's a fucking throwaway. This week's a throwaway. get his throat. Throw the whole fucking thing out. Oh. This will irritate me. Let's watch this. It's from a year ago.
What the heck are these things? And why are there 5 of them?
The goal was to prevent homeless from sleeping under this bridge. Instead, it backlashed with outrage from the town.
Armrests in the middle of benches to large rocks added underneath bridges. Homeless advocates call these designs hostile architecture or anti-homeless.
In London and Paris, you see spikes on windowsills. In D.C., a curved bench.
Hostile architecture is when cities put features in the architecture to try to keep homeless people away.
Spikes that would hurt people seems like a bad idea.
So this looks like a metal covering for the subway vent, which is underneath it. At first I thought it was a bench, but you can really only sit on this corner of it. You'll notice that the top of this is incredibly uneven, and then there's these raised ridges which are on all 5 of them. And what happens if you try to lay down on it? Is that even possible? Oh, that is like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever experienced. This ridge right here is going into my spine, and that's on purpose, and this is called hostile architecture. And critics of hostile architecture say that usually these types of installations are cruel and unnecessary because they target the needy. And we're gonna look at a whole bunch of examples of this. Subway benches that serve no purpose, a train station.
What he should be doing, this video should be, let's look at a bunch of examples of these, and for each example, I'll show you how it can be defeated. That's the format this video should have taken.
Designed to make you go crazy, and several parks that look nice, but were designed to be so uncomfortable that you'll leave after 5 or 10 minutes, and they're all here in New York. Now, hostile or defensive architecture consists of public installations like this, which are designed to do one thing while preventing another thing. This right here is a normal uncovered subway grate, and in the wintertime when it's cold out, someone with nowhere to go might want to use an area like this to help keep warm because warm air comes out of here. And right now, New York City is experiencing record homelessness. And lately, both private developers and the city have been building all sorts of things like this, but they've got to be really sneaky about it, because when I found out what these were, it made me pretty uncomfortable to realize that they were specifically designed to stop people who have nothing from staying warm in the wintertime. Is that okay? And sometimes when cities build stuff like this, people find out and get really upset. And that's what happened 2 years ago when the city started introducing hostile architecture to the subway system. This is the 23rd Street and 6th Avenue subway stop, and it looks like a normal subway station, but it was the site of heated controversy when the city subway, the MTA, introduced hostile architecture to this station. A couple years ago, riders noticed that the benches in this very same platform were suddenly removed. And as you can imagine, people were not happy about that. Not only because of how cruel it might seem towards certain individuals, but also because the elderly, people who are pregnant, there's other people that need benches in the subway too, and this was a quality of life hit for everybody on this platform. And the benches were originally along this wall, and look at—
Yeah, now they have that. Isn't that so convenient?
What the replacement is. Is this even a replacement? I mean, you can lean on it. I guess this is better than leaning yourself against the wall, which might be dirty. It has spots for 4 leaners.
It's a New York, homie, it's a New York subway. That shit's dirty too.
Now, there are 2 benches in this platform, which were put back after the city realized that their decision had outraged people. But even these have elements of hostile architecture in them. Look at these armrests. All you can do is sit here. You can't lay down. This is only like 2 feet wide. Its only purpose is for sitting. It is hostile to any other intended use. Look, you can't even be that wide in here. Some people even suggested the city had violated the Americans with Disabilities Act by removing the benches. And this isn't the first time the city had done something like this. Check this out. A year earlier, the city had removed all of the seat backs from the benches on a subway station just a couple blocks south of this one. The city claims that once they did that, they saw a reduction in the number of people loitering on the platform, along with an increase in the number of passengers who were on the platform waiting for trains, but by removing the seat backs from the benches that were already there, they essentially did exactly what this is by creating something that's less functional and lowers everyone's quality of use when they're in the subway. And I'm noticing that this is a trend because look at all the people standing with nowhere to sit. You see these concrete patches right here? There was something here. It was probably a bench. It looks to be about that wide. There's one other over here by the door, and there are no benches anywhere else. Just one more spot to lean right over there. And before we look at how the city is using these same type of designs at a brand new train station and a bunch of public parks, it's important to understand that this is exposing the dark side of this type of architecture. Because there might be benefits as far as the orderliness of the subway system is concerned, but New York City gets pretty cold in the wintertime, and the subway is a place where needy New Yorkers go when they have nowhere else to go. So
the loitering thing pisses me off severely, YouTubing. Yeah. It's like second only to the resisting arrest shit. It's like no standing around without purpose. Like, fuck you. Like, fuck you. Like, absolutely. So if I just want to hang out, there's no place for me to just hang out, I guess. Because you can get hit with loitering anywhere. In a park, you can get hit with loitering in a park. You know that, right? That's a real thing that can happen.
that they don't freeze. And yes, the city has shelters, but they have a rather poor reputation. And because of New York's asylum crisis, the shelter system's already maxed out. And since the shelters are perceived as being dangerous, it makes tons of sense that people would rather take their chances in a place like this.
Wolf, trust me. I'm fully aware of how insane I would have already gone in England. I'd be locked up. 100%.
And removing subway benches doesn't do anything to make people less homeless. They're still homeless, even if you remove the benches, and they've still got nowhere to go. And most critics of these types of policies, they want a clean subway too, but they don't really think it's fair to take from people who already have so little. And the city's subsequent removal of benches here and reinstallation of different benches, that basically let the city know that if they're gonna do stuff like this, they've gotta be sneakier about it, and they have been, as we're about to see.
Like, every single one of these, I'm just envisioning me going out with an angle grinder at midnight. Like, I'm just gonna fucking take an angle grinder to half these fucking things and just call it a day.
Isn't that wild? This is a pretty impressive train station, but there are some serious problems with it that we'll get into. But first, it's important to understand that many aspects of this design and other hostile designs are nice. Nice to look at, not necessarily nice to use. But this is called the Moynihan Trail, and it is the newest train station in New York City. Building it cost over $1 billion, and it was completed just a couple of years ago. It also has this gorgeous glass ceiling, which is a throwback to Penn Station's original design. Penn Station is where Madison Square Garden is. That's directly across the street. And this is what that used to look like. And as far as train stations go, this is pretty nice. Look, there's a full Walgreens in here. There's an eatery with a bunch of restaurants, the ticketing areas, everything here is gorgeous.
Yeah,
but
sure.
There's one glaring flaw. And no, it's not that fixing the expensive glass roof is something that takes a while and is hard to do. Look at the size of that cherry picker they got right there. Do you see the problem? There's no seats. And that's why
Just nowhere to sit.
Single person in this $1 billion terminal is standing. And it's a train station. The only thing there is to do here is wait for things to happen. Not a seat in the whole.
Before they start pulling the seats out of airports. Yeah. Just wait. Somebody's gonna fucking do an airport reno, and they're gonna remove the seats.
Place. Do you think they should put some benches in here so people have a place to sit?
That's a great idea.
It is, right?
That is a great idea.
Did you know they spent over $1 billion making this and they didn't put benches?
Not a single bench. I mean, they have those lounges over there, but that's for people that have tickets.
Yeah, you gotta pay.
Yeah.
Like Spirit Airlines.
Right.
Oh, you want a seat? You gotta pay. Now, having no benches could be a ploy from these corporations to get you to go inside and spend money. And it seems to be working. There's a lot of people over here. But the lack of seating is a deliberately hostile choice. People.
Homie, I'm sitting on the floor. I'm gonna fucking park up. I'm gonna bring like a foam roll as part of my kit. I'm just gonna fucking roll out a yoga mat and chill. Like, get fucked. Take a half a yoga mat. You don't even need a full one. Just take a half a yoga mat. Like, I'm a chill. Get fucked.
Just plop their stuff down on the floor. And if you're wondering why nobody's trying to sit on the floor, that's because security will find you and make you stand up. And to be fair, this old image of Penn Station, look, I see some seats down here at the bottom. So maybe there were more seats there than there are here in its reimagination. But you know, the old station is mostly open space. And what that could mean is that open space is a great Spartan design for a public train station in New York City. And you know, the way to answer that is to go across the street to the ugliest building in town, which is also a train station.
I saw seats. 1 hour limit.
Look at that. It's the same deal. 1 hour limit, and you got to have a ticket to get into the waiting area. And everyone else in this beautiful piece of New York City architecture is standing.
So if my train's late, I just broke a law?
Or walking. I love the 1970s aluminum ceiling. The floor reminds me of my elementary school. And look at this. These are those crazy old school drop tile ceilings. Now, this certainly isn't modern, new, or fancy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's eerily similar to what's across the street. Because all this open space with no seats, that's hostile architecture. At least the new monitors are bright, but this is another design where absolutely nothing about it is meant to be comfortable. Luckily, there are seats inside some of the little restaurants over here, which you'll be paying for. And look at this, the wall is even roped off for some reason. Maybe it's because they've got this fancy tile and this artwork on it, and they don't want people who have nowhere to sit leaning on it. But back in 2020, loitering in this station and in Grand Central caused economic issues for small businesses that are here paying rent. And in addition to building things in a way that is not conducive to comfort in any manner, the city stepped up security. But unfortunately, this is a 24-hour facility, and those most negatively impacted by hostile architectural design and policing were those who needed a place when it was cold out. But New York doesn't just limit hostile architecture to the inside of buildings. Now it's on the outside as well. And no, I'm not talking about how they roped off all the steps at the post office so no...
Jesus fucking Christ.
No one can sit here. Back in the day, you could climb the steps. There are doors over here, but now look, they got it all roped off. It's just here looking pretty.
Can we just implode already? Can this shithole of a nation just hurry up and implode? I know we're speedrunning it, but like for real. Just get this over with, man. We suck. We suck so hard. We are the worst fucking place.
Very pretty. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about something way worse. This isn't really comfortable. I can't believe whoever designed this calls this a bench and got away with it. It's actually like a barrier if you think about it. This is the Highline Park, and it's actually a park built upon an old railway track. Barrier if you think about it. This is the Highline.
I'm gonna chill over there. Fuck it. I'm gonna go sit in the grass. Fuck
Park.
this place.
And it's actually a park built upon an old railway track, which means many parts of it are skinny and narrow, but it's also very long. It goes like 15 blocks. There be some of the old train tracks right there underneath us. And I'm guessing that these barrier benches serve to move the flow of traffic down the park. And I guess they don't want big groups inside these little triangle areas. Oh, look, another awkward place to sit. I feel like I'm a little close to the traffic here. And this is what happens if you try to lay down on it. Look, my shoulders and arms are falling off the side. What a bizarre way to construct something. There's no way you're going to sit on a bench like this for very long. Maybe just long enough to eat a sweet green salad. And look at this.
By the way, this is the city full of people who defend their shithead city. This is the best city on the planet, by the way. Talk to a New Yorker. Talk to a New Yorker. Cody, the whole thing, the whole thing's about fucking hostile architecture. They will defend New York as the best place. And it's like, dude, your city sucks. Your city sucks. It's a horrible, horrible place.
This geometric nightmare right here. I bet people were getting hurt on this thing. That's why they had to rope it off. You can see that these two benches are basically here to tell this traffic to go this way and to have this traffic come this way. Only someone with a college degree could have come up with this. I know because I have a degree. Now, in spite of how this entire section of the park is textbook hostile architecture, that changes in this area that opens up, because over here we've got what seems to be an actual seat. This is definitely better than the awkward bench. And I'm pretty sure the designers of this park envisioned it as an urban pathway that leads...
Yeah, Cody, it's a horrible, horrible place. This honestly, New York City is just a terrible place for so many reasons. The only thing that redeems New York City is that they have a shit ton of immigrants, which means they have a shit ton of cultures, which means they have a shit ton of food. That is the only thing that redeems New York City. Otherwise, it's a hellhole.
North to south along Manhattan's west side, with some areas being akin to a nature walk and others doubling as observation points. Isn't that cool? You can look down here, see the street, take in the views. It's definitely a beautiful park. If you're ever around here, you should come out here and walk.
Yeah, Tex, they got some amazing graffiti.
Walk on it and sit on it. And from time to time, they will put in very bizarre art installations, like this pink tree, which probably symbolizes something. Also of note, this is a private park, and it does close at a certain point. So it's not like Central Park, where you should expect to be able to go in and leave at any point you want. Check out these hostile bleachers. Maybe it's modern, maybe it's futuristic, but it's not exactly comfortable. And there's about as much legroom here as Spirit Airlines will give you. I don't think you could stay here for a very long period of time. And maybe that's the point. But what if a group of people went to a place that was filled with hostile architecture here in New York and tried to stay there? What would happen? That's what we're gonna go find out.
Bree, New York is literally bought, paid for, and owned lock, stock, and barrel by the oligarchs of the world. It is quite literally billionaire central. Yeah. Nothing actually transformative will come out of New York.
Welcome to Zuccotti Park, the most hostile piece of architecture we're gonna see today. So today I'm doing hostile architecture like this, right?
It's disgusting.
And I think this is the most cruel park in New York because this granite gets so cold just sitting on it.
Absolutely.
Made me freeze my butt off. And look at how high the ridges are sticking up out of this thing. These granite tables are equally cruel and unforgiving. And look at all these nightmarish angles with like the way that this plant is. The whole thing is like designed for crowd control. But back in 2011, this park was the site of the Occupy Wall Street movement, where protesters camped out in this park for about a month. See this image right here with that red bar behind that guy? That was taken right over here. And whether you agree with their message or not, it took a lot of determination to stay in this place for more than 15 minutes. I mean, it is...
Nah, they built up the encampment. They worked around the architecture.
Just a barren landscape, and yes, there are trees, but look at their position. They're only designed to eliminate crowds of people. Between these benches, these trees, and these weird plant boxes right here, it's tough to have like a mass gathering. And look at this little ridge that just kind of winds along here and goes up into the stairs. The whole thing is just, whoever built it wanted it to be here, and they wanted it to be looked at, and that's about it. Also, the protesters weren't here during the summer either. They were here from mid-October until about the end of November. It gets cold at night here in New York. Now, yes, the Occupy Wall Street movement did have significant support. There were a lot of people who donated and helped the people that were here stay here as long as they could with things like sleeping bags and food. There was even a library, and there was Wi-Fi here in the park. I'm sure there were bathrooms too, because I don't see any. Now, since 2011, the same type of mass takeover of this park hasn't happened before. And I guess these awful benches, I guess they do deter, but is that really how we want to build things? Should we build things in New York in a way that maybe doesn't lower everyone's standard of living all at the exact same time? Let me know what you think.
Anyway. I just saw a video in the recommended feed on this video, and I'm trying to control the rage again. Savage. Trump's press secretary shuts down LGBTQ plus activists with brutal speech. Enough with the woke shit. I saw my stepfather watching that video the other day. That video has 1.7 million views, by the way. Yeah, I don't know if I should be streaming today, quite frankly. It might be actually irresponsible. When good cops are saved by unlikely strangers, yeah. Shame on you, Megyn Kelly torches Tom Hanks for SNL skit performance. Why? I just watched anti-homeless and anti-hostile architecture video, and they're recommending me all of this right-wing bullshit. I'm telling you, the fucking... The YouTube is largest money laundering scheme in history has been uncovered by Doge Michael Cloud on Forbes breaking news. YouTube is pushing this shit. Dude, I think it's 3. Of course they did, Robbo. That's all they do is lie, but fucking Trump supporters are the most retarded motherfuckers on the face of the planet. Like, you can say anything and they believe it. Like, literally anything. Did you see the 200-foot Jesus statue that they think has been erected in the White House front lawn? Did you see that one making the rounds? They think a 200-foot statue of Jesus has been erected in front of the White House because of some shitty fucking AI render that made its way around TikTok. What is that dude's name? Hold on. I don't even know where to begin to find this. I'm pretty sure it was Thomas Powell. Oh, there we go. All right, found it. Also, I'm going to show you this one first.
I'm of the opinion that if you are two consenting adults, then what you do with one another is your business.
Yep, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Check this shit out.
You know what I mean?
Happy Valentine's Day. Today's also me and Caroline's 2-year anniversary. And we've been posting these videos lately, and people are like, oh, is that your daughter? I mean, come on, that's ridiculous.
We do have a 26-year age gap, but it doesn't matter. Just be nice. Gap.
When she was born, he was 26 years old. When she was a newborn baby, he was 26 years old. Yeah. Also, let's be real.
But it doesn't.
Oh, that's ridiculous. 2 years.
We do have a 26-year age gap, but it doesn't matter.
It could be a speech impediment, but does it seem that maybe we've got a bit of a developmental disorder as well? I don't know. I don't know. I do know she is extraordinarily inappropriately aged for that man. But I also have a sneaking suspicion that there's something else that we would have problems with.
Just be nice. 26-year age gap, but it doesn't matter. Just be nice. 6-year age gap, but
I mean, come on, that's ridiculous.
we do have a 26-year age.
Also, she's reading off a script. I've never heard anything quite like that, Cass. I'm not sold. I'm not sold. Anyway.
They will believe. Anything that is fed to them. They will. It doesn't matter. You can feed MAGA, the hardcore Trump supporter you want. Walter case in point.
They believe Trump put a 200-foot statue of Jesus on the White House.
Did you hear about the 200-foot Jesus statue that Trump had delivered and set at the White House? It has Jesus standing there with outstretched arms.
Mama saw a blurry image of a 200-foot statue of Jesus being hoisted onto the White House and thought, oh yes, this must be real.
Yeah, that one made the rounds. I feel like I got flashbanged by that one, YouTubing. I just, you know, yeah. Yeah, it would be more on brand for him to put a statue of himself. He ain't putting one of Jesus.
Remember when all
Instagram comment section after Donald Trump tried to pull this propaganda stunt at the Daytona 500 have passed the vibe check. I gotta share it with you. So right here is the photo posted on the official NASCAR Instagram account. You can see we welcome the President of the United States to the Daytona 500. And so before I show you the ruthless comments that Trump received on the NASCAR
I didn't know Elijah Wood started doing TikTok stuff.
page, let me give you a bit of context. So Trump delayed the start of the Daytona 500. NASCAR changed the race time and put drivers in hazardous weather conditions. The race got delayed. Trump ignored the deadly storms in Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia for these photo ops, and taxpayers ended up losing millions of dollars. Okay, let me show you the comments that NASCAR received. This is brutal. Ready? No, we don't. Hence why there is a rain delay. I have words to say, but I believe I'll keep it to myself. To be clear, he is unwelcome everywhere. A lot of gifts, a lot of booing gifts. What's next for him? The Masters? Is he going to go to every major U.S. sporting event in 1 year? Boo this man, boo. Can you get this dog shit off the timeline? What are you doing? Boo, we do not. So glad I skipped LMAO. Boo. I'm guessing everyone else was busy, pleasantly surprised to see the comments like this. This comment section makes me very happy. Looks like it rained on his parade. Steve Carell making this face. You got this vomit gif. You got Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. And sorry, gif, tomato, tomato. I'm not going to change my ways. Did Elon give you permission to come out and play? Boo. Also, these comments passed the vibe check. How much did this cost the taxpayers? Daytona 500 and Super Bowl box suite.
Anyway,
It's good to know. Duffy and then Secret Service probably started shooting motherfuckers. Oh, I'm over this. I'm over this. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to watch that one, actually. Some more Doom.
On February
So this was 1 year ago? Yep.
4th, 2023, a plane from Southwest came within 100 feet of a FedEx plane in Austin.
Southwest aboard. FedEx is on the go.
Just over a week after that, a plane from Spirit Airline came within 200 feet of a cargo plane in Miami. The New York Times released an investigation that showed that these almost collisions, known as near misses, were happening multiple times a week, more than 500 in the previous year. Each one of those could have resulted in hundreds of deaths. Each one of these was because of a minor but potentially catastrophic error made by an air traffic controller. Being an air traffic controller is one of the most high stakes and stressful jobs you can have. We talk to workers who are watching out for millions of us every day to find out who's watching out for them. First, let's talk about what air traffic controllers actually do. You've maybe flown dozens of times in your life and never thought about the people in the control tower.
We have the largest and most complex aviation network in the world. There's no other country in the world that can come close to the number of airports, the number of flights, the amount of traffic.
That's Bill McGee. He's worked in aviation for decades.
It's no secret that this is one of the most stressful professions you could possibly imagine. It is literally life and death. Whether it's Chicago O'Hare or New York LaGuardia or Los Angeles LAX, you're going to be encountering dozens and dozens and dozens of flights on that shift. It's always been this way, but it's gotten much worse in recent years.
To find out why that is, we wanted to talk to air traffic controllers, some who are retired and some who are currently on the job. But that would prove to be extremely difficult. Last summer, yes, 6 months ago, we got an email from a burner account. It was an air traffic controller in the Northeast. We'll call her Megan. This was just a few days after the New York Times investigation was released. I called the ATC. She didn't want to go on the record. It was Labor Day weekend, in a year of historic strikes and union actions that More Perfect Union had been covering. But here I was talking to a person.
I'm sorry, are you fucking stupid? She sent you an email from a burner account. God.
Who didn't feel like she could speak up about her job. So we started looking for someone else who would talk. First, I tried reaching out to
Didn't want to go on the record.
Traffic
No,
controls on Reddit.
really? Wow. The person who tried to give you an anonymous tip via a burner email didn't want to go on the record. Wow, you're a really good journalist. Are you like a Pulitzer Prize winner by any chance? I swear to fucking Christ. I have... What happened? What's going on in journalism schools? What is... I have just been encountering this shit over and over and over and over and over. And it's like, when did journalists become the dumbest people in the room suddenly? What happened? Like, constantly burning their sources. Constantly fucking showing people on camera they shouldn't show. Like, no journalistic integrity or OPSEC or anything whatsoever. Fucking... When they stop paying a living wage. Fair enough.
Where ATCs talk about their work, joke, complain, ask for advice. First, I tried reaching out to air traffic controllers on Reddit, where ATCs talk about their work, joke, complain, ask for advice, and found out that they were not happy about the coverage. The New York Times had exposed a few ATCs by name from classified FAA documents.
Doxing controllers now? What the fuck, Emily?
Inley Steele is one of the Times investigative reporters who's been covering the FAA.
And this is why, when a reporter asks you for anything, you shut the fuck up and refer them to your manager or your union.
Wow, good luck getting any controller to ever talk to you again.
Okay, fair enough. For every close call, there is an incident report. These reports are littered with clues as to what's happening to control towers.
I was too busy to keep watching it. Another example of why short staffing is a safety issue.
Our mental health is suffering with the extra stress and close calls like this.
This could have easily been an aircraft accident report.
We're having our evening rush on crack.
We are currently in a staffing
I can barely
hole.
work it sometimes, which is why I'm filling out this report.
It's not that we don't have skilled and qualified people. We have skilled and qualified people that don't want to do these jobs. We have lost a lot of experienced air traffic controllers, and the ones that are still on the job are under tremendous stress.
I finally did get a few people to talk to me, anonymously, and they confirmed what Bill said.
Mostly controllers are just fatigued. With a lot of the mistakes happening, I think it's not a far leap to attribute those mistakes to the decade-plus run of facilities using overtime as a crutch for staffing. We are currently in a staffing hole, and they aren't even hiring enough controllers to keep up with attrition.
ATCs report working 10-hour shifts, 6 days a week, year-round, and sometimes overtime on top of that. It makes it impossible to have a regular sleep schedule, or frankly, a life outside of work. Multiple ATCs reported that the schedule was creating stress and anxiety, as well as depression.
ATCs are known for being functional alcoholics. I would have 5 to 6 drinks per night. When I got home from a shift, I would grab a glass of vodka before my bag even hit the floor. So at what point is it just alcoholics running the FAA? Do we want that?
Ultimately, ATCs across the country are worried that one of these near misses won't be a miss.
I guarantee there will be a collision in the next 3 years.
So why are controllers having to work hours like this? Well, understaffing is a problem that goes back years, or specifically to 1 year.
Yep. The air traffic controller strike.
Dominic was an air traffic controller in the 1980s and a member of PATCO, the union for ATCs. The union had been begging President Carter for improvements to the FAA.
Reagan, when he was running for president, caught on to that. He said that, exactly what I said. Too few controllers working too many hours with, antiquated equipment have placed our flying public in jeopardy.
PATCO made the unusual choice to back Ronald Reagan, a Republican, after he sent a letter to the union.
He said that if elected, he would do everything within his power to rectify all his bad problems.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and you believed him like the schmucks you are.
Many PATCO members knew Reagan as the president of the Screen Actors Guild. He was a union man, but he didn't fool Dominic.
He was a showman, that was it.
I take it that you are a performer?
All hat and no cattle, as they used to say.
A year after Reagan was elected, none of the changes had been made at the FAA.
The minute that he got crowned, he disappeared. After about 8 months of just sitting there saying, we're still working 6-day weeks, we're working overtime, we're burning out, we never got a response after that from the White House.
That's when PATCO voted to strike.
There were 1,500 air traffic controllers there. We were up all night, and we said we're going on strike. You couldn't hear yourself think. It was like the roar of a 737. After about 2 hours, there wasn't an airplane in the sky except Air Force One.
Federal employees in the United States aren't allowed to go on strike. That's been true since the passage of Taft-Hartley in 1947.
You can't sit and negotiate.
Hey, old timers. What's one of the things that Kai used to bang on about all the time, about things, one of the key pieces of legislation that has ruined this country, that like literally made it possible to dominate the way that they have dominated in the ways that they do? The thing that like, oh, that's right, it's Taft-Hartley. Taft-Hartley makes a fucking reappearance. Of course, it's almost like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Taft-Hartley is at the core of so much evil shit and is so... It is a linchpin in why we cannot organize in this country.
With a union that's in violation of the law.
But no president had ever invoked that part of the act. It was, as one historian we spoke to put it, a gentleman's agreement. The Postal Service had staged a multi-day wildcat strike in 1970, and President Nixon had used firm words.
If the Postmaster General deems it necessary to act in other affected major cities, I will not hesitate to act.
But he didn't go as far as Reagan would.
They are in violation of the law, and if they do not report for work within 48 hours, they have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated.
Reagan laid off the striking air traffic controllers in one day, more than 11,000 of them. He also sent federal marshals to arrest 17 union leaders across the country.
This guy's a legend, Steve Wallet. He was arrested by the federal marshals, brought out in chains, chained to controller.
This has caused cyclical shortages ever since. The real legacy of the strike, though, is the way Reagan successfully tamed the union. Air traffic controllers were essentially silenced into accepting long hours and impossible schedules.
You 20,000 applicants, my job's available, I've been fired. Give it a try. And I'd like to talk to you in about 5 years and see how you feel then.
I think it's impossible to underestimate how huge the PATCO strike was, not just in aviation circles, but in labor. The Reagan administration deliberately set out to break the labor movement in the United States.
There's something else we need to talk about that a ton of ATCs brought up in our conversation, and that's mental health. The scheduling of the overtime is creating a lot of fatigue and stress. But what about if you just need medication because of life?
We know that safety-sensitive personnel are required to meet certain medical standards to maintain an active operational status.
That's William Hoffman, who studies mental health among pilots and in aviation. Air traffic controllers, because of the nature of their work, are set to very high health standards, both physical and mental.
Right now, the aeromedical screening system in a lot of ways is dichotomous. The personnel is fit to perform their duties, or they're not fit to perform their duties. But mental health is more complicated because what we're looking for is more subtle incapacitation. They're not completely incapacitated, but they're maybe not 100% able to perform their duties.
If an ATC has experienced anxiety and depression and wants to go on medication, they temporarily lose their medical clearance and have to take off 6 months to a year to take something as simple as Prozac. This can lead to self-medication, or what Hoffman calls healthcare avoidance. Multiple ATCs I spoke with mentioned that they use alcohol as a form of medication.
Our study of over 5,000 pilots across North America showed that over 50% reported a history of healthcare avoidance due to fear for losing their certificate. Air traffic controllers find themselves in similar circumstances.
One of the ATCs I talked to, the one who was drinking every night, she eventually left the job for mental health reasons, and she said her drinking fell by 80%. It turns out I wasn't an alcoholic, she told me. I was just an air traffic controller.
In 2023, air traffic control suddenly became front page news in the United States. Suddenly, Congress and media and the public are all saying, we need answers. How did this happen? Well, it's not a mystery in many cases. The fact is we have been understaffed and underfunded and under-resourced at the Federal Aviation Administration for more than 40 years. And quite frankly, in my view, it's shameful.
The FAA is proposing $117 million for training 18...
Hey, quick question. What did Trump do to the FAA's funding? He increased it, right?
100 additional air traffic controllers for 2024. The Senate recently passed a budget for 3,000 new controllers over the next 5 years, and it's on track for the House. Right now, training isn't keeping pace with retirement, so the FAA also needs to guarantee that the job itself is sustainable for the workers. Thanks for watching The Classroom. For more Perfect Union.
Hey, long leg. Just FYI, I just changed the fucking stream title to Trump anoints himself king, idiots cheer. I tried to do morons cheer, but I can't do morons because that violates Twitch's content policy. But idiots works. I'm just... It's so fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. How about chuckle fucks? All right, let's try it. Nope, because it's got the dreaded F word in it. Can't do that. Can't do chuckle fucks. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Can I just say Nazis cheer? I can use Nazis. I could just say Nazis. I fucking fuck it. Yeah. Trump anoints himself king. Nazis cheer. Bad words make for bad feelings. Yeah. I fucking Christ's sake. I swear to fucking Christ, Twitch. Oh my god. Oy vey. Just, you know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, long leg. Yeah, I mean, what would, you know. But, the old, who did the quote? If you can make the lowest white man believe he's superior to the highest black man, to the best black man, then you can distract them while you pick their pockets. Yeah. LBJ. Yeah. Fucking Mr. Piss on his own Secret Service himself. Douchebag. Peaky, I need to yell at somebody. I feel like I need to yell at somebody. Somebody needs lashing, you know. Somebody needs a good flogging. Let's see. Zippy. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to watch? Oh shit, yeah. I mean, that's gonna be dry. That's not a watch on stream kind of video, but I do want to watch that interview with Avi Shalem. But because I say shit like that, and I don't. He's a Israeli historian who remembers himself being an Arab Jew in Iraq, and so he's intimately familiar with how the Zionists came to power throughout the region and what elements of Mossad did in places like Iraq. He's old enough to literally just remember it. he's like, yeah, I don't need a an academic or another historian to tell me. I kind of lived it. And he is a notable and respected historian himself. So they got up to all sorts of shit fuckery, man. All sorts of shit fuckery. What's a false flag between friends? Oh boy, good on him. I don't know who he is, but good on him. Oh god, yeah. Unironically, Cody, a bunch of shit by Benny Morris. He's a horrible, horrible person who believes everything that they did was right, but he documents it really well. So yeah, actually, Benny Morris is absolutely fuck Benny Morris. Like, absolutely fuck Benny Morris. The guy is a fucking horrible, horrible person. But Israel's Secret Wars is a great place to start if you want to hear about all the shit fuckery that Mossad got up to. Yeah. Ethnic cleansing, not so much, but Biggest Prison on Earth gets into some of it. And then 100 Years War also gets into some of it. But yeah, Benny's a good source for that kind of stuff. He's a horrible, horrible person though, so don't buy the book. Make sure no fucking no money makes it way back. It's way back to him. He's a horrible shithead. Yeah, Benny is not good people, but he documents their crimes pretty well. He just believes that like everything they did was good. He's a total douchebag, but yeah. Yeah. Israel's Secret Wars by Benny, yeah, he just thinks they're justified. Like it's wild. It's wild. Oh, did I load? Yeah, I did. I loaded it. I got no thought. Get good. Rest of the world, get good, because yeah, we are speed running. We're through Weimar. We're headed straight into like Nazi. Like we're speed running this shit. So good luck. Okay. Let's see. We went to the town Elon Musk took hostage. Bro, you don't want them to fix government waste? Yeah. Brownsville, Texas, one of the poorest communities in America. Old fucking apartheid boy himself sold hope for the town to climb out of stagnation into growth. Instead, SpaceX has caused earthquakes, rampant workplace injuries, skirted regulations, threatened wildlife, and displaced local communities while securing millions in corporate welfare. We went to Texas in January just as SpaceX was gearing up for the 7th launch of its Starship, and this is what we unraveled. Cool. Good talk. All right, let's see it.
I think we're at the dawn of a new era.
No, Cody. I haven't. I'll be honest.
It'll be very exciting.
We are at T-minus under 33 minutes and counting.
I'd love to have SpaceX be the company that brings humanity to Mars, and I hope I see it while I'm
God, I hope you go. Just go. Just go already.
still alive.
I mean, are we going to Mars or not? Right now, we sure are messing a lot of stuff up in our area here.
Not today, Cody. I wouldn't get a kick out of it.
Brownsville, Texas sits at the southernmost tip of the United States. It's a border town of 200,000 people.
Oh, I'll keep that in mind
10
for
years
future
ago,
Kai.
it was upended by the arrival of a very famous new resident, the richest man in the world. Many residents are glad that this $350 billion company moved into a town that has struggled with high unemployment for decades.
We need this area to grow. It's the poorest county in the nation. If we don't grow, we're gonna die.
Come here, Elon! Did you
vision
planet?
Space exploited by
companies.
Sorry, can't watch it.
We're a disadvantaged community that's being exploited by a billionaire for his experimental space fantasy.
We used to go a lot. I mean, before I even married, we would go, and he would go with his family also. And then once we married, we had boys. We were there probably every weekend.
It was just a very serene place. I mean, it's still beautiful when you can get there.
Renee and Ida Mandrano live just 17 miles from Boca Chica Beach, where SpaceX launches the rocket Starship, the largest and most powerful rocket ever built, and the one that Elon Musk says will take humanity to Mars. The Starship...
Is it the most powerful rocket that's ever been built? Hey, sweethearts.
Which includes the booster Super Heavy, is a 5,000-ton rocket made of stainless steel, designed to carry up to 150 metric tons of cargo, which Musk says is necessary for his Mars colony.
The launch is here. The rocket is right here, and you can hear it, you can feel it. You can see the fire, you can see the Raptors. Can you see the smoke? And then all of a sudden you hear those booms. Our dog Miller was running around. It was loud. It sounded like
a bomb?
A huge, dangerous, super explosive bomb.
What was once 1,400 acres of beach and wetlands is now home to SpaceX's building facility, launch pad, and a continuously growing town where employees live, called Starbase. The rocket launches 5 times a year, but right now SpaceX is applying to launch 25 times a year.
It's a shame that it got to this point, as big as it is, and probably going to get bigger.
Musk came to Texas to pitch his private space launching facility in 2013.
This will be the first commercial orbital launch site in the world.
And warned that the company was also eyeing Georgia, Florida, and Puerto Rico.
We are looking at other potential launch
Puerto Rico
locations.
got spared.
The year
at
before,
least.
Musk had spent $12,000 in campaign contributions and hired a lobbyist to court local politicians. SpaceX spent a total of $219,000 on gifts, trips to SpaceX headquarters in California, and even a Lakers game. Texas is a billionaire-friendly state. They have no corporate tax or state income tax. But SpaceX wanted more.
I'm sorry,
Governor Rick
Texas has no corporate tax? Like, just none? Just none? Okay.
Perry and the state officials were eager to win this bid. In exchange, Musk promised millions in growth.
Our competition for this in Texas is very serious.
When we first met with Elon, he explained the project to us. Then he asked us, do you know why I'm doing this?
And he kind of, backs away from the table and looks at us and says, humanity can no longer sustain itself on this planet, so I'm gonna help with that by colonizing Mars. So at that moment in time, number one, I thought, I'm fired. How am I gonna go back to the poorest community in the United States and tell my leadership, hey, let's use our hard-earned tax dollars to incentivize and recruit a company to our community. And the reason that they're doing this is because they're gonna save humanity by colonizing Mars. It was just so out there.
Gilberto Salinas co-founded the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation, an organization that allocates city taxes to attract businesses.
People laughed at us, but we're like, if we're able to align everything, it might be just that deal of the century.
Salinas' organization chipped in $5 million in incentives, and the state approved an additional $15 million, as well as a 10-year waiver on county taxes. 10 years later, in 2024, SpaceX released a report claiming they had invested $3.5 billion in infrastructure and created 3,400 new jobs. To Salinas, Musk had kept his promise.
I think any business person will say, you invest $5 million and 10 years down the road, those $5 million are going to turn into $3+ billion. Yeah, I would do that deal any day.
In 2014, SpaceX broke ground.
The future of South Texas takes off right behind me. This was the frontier at one time, and it's the frontier again.
Musk is really good at getting government subsidies. In the last few decades, he's gotten hundreds of billions of dollars from federal grants, tax incentives, and state contracts for his companies Tesla and SolarCity. SpaceX was near bankruptcy, and Musk was deep in debt when NASA gave the company a massive handout in 2008.
NASA called and told us that we'd won a $1.5 billion contract. And I couldn't even hold the phone. It's like, I just blurted out, I love you guys.
They saved you.
Yeah, they did.
Financially and maybe even emotionally.
I'll tell you what, that was definitely helpful. Yeah.
But do those subsidies really pay off for towns like Brownsville?
Best example of why NASA should be canceled I've ever heard. There's a lot of arguments that people make for defunding NASA. That right there is the biggest example I've ever heard for an argument that I might actually go along with for just folding NASA. Yep. Jesus fucking Christ.
We are a low-income community. We're primarily brown and indigenous. We have a very unique and beautiful community.
Becca Hinosa is a local environmentalist and activist who has been fighting SpaceX for years.
Our people here, we do need jobs. Most of us are in survival mode, and we're in survival mode because
why are we sending our money overseas when we should be spending it in space?
We've been exploited so many times by so many different industries, and now SpaceX is part of that.
Musk has a reputation for forcing high speeds on his workers and lacks safety standards at his work sites. Reuters reported in 2023 that there had been 600 injuries at SpaceX locations since 2014. One worker has been in a coma after an on-site accident for 3 years. Another lost vision in one of his eyes after being struck while moving a beam.
Ya no miré yo nada completamente, entonces yo le gritaba a mi amigo, perdí mi ojo.
Musk's worksite in Boca Chica has an accident rate 6 times higher than anywhere in the space industry.
Lo que yo miré, he visto yo allí en ese trabajo de SpaceX, no hay suficiente seguridad. Ahí no hay.
Besides the $5 million Brownsville gifted to SpaceX when they first arrived, the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation has since spent another $1 million to attract space-related startups. Hinosa says it reminds her of a different time in South Texas's past. About 100 years ago, when rich landowners and politicians in the lower Rio Grande Valley tried to lure white settlers to the region to farm. The lower valley was majority Tejano, Mexican Americans who had lived there before Texas was even a state, and it still is today.
They advertised our low-income people as cheap workforce and cheap land, come here and exploit.
Since Musk's arrival, the launching site and the SpaceX campus have grown much faster than Hinosa and the Medranos ever imagined.
Never did we think that they would be taking over the entire area. It was just Elon Musk is going to come in, he's going to build a little pad, he's going to have a launch, and that's it. But now it's totally different than what was explained.
The thing that bothers the Medranos the most is that they can rarely go to Boca Chica Beach, a beach the state of Texas and the city of Brownsville promised the public would be able to visit. The Texas state constitution guarantees access to all public beaches, but in 2013, the state amended the Texas Open Beaches Act to carve out space activity. Now the state is free to close the beach anytime SpaceX wants to launch a rocket. And it turns out that's a lot.
They'll send a text and they'll say Boca Chica Beach is now closed. And if we're planning to go out there, that's it. Unpack everything. And then 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'll get another text. Boca Chica Beach is now open. Well, who's going to go out there at 10 o'clock at night?
You're on their time.
I would.
You know, you're on SpaceX time.
But I'm not going out there because it's probably poisoned by now.
Local people call Boca Chica Beach the poor people's beach because this is where people come to fish.
Hey there, Bubblegum. Welcome in. The only thing I can tell you is since the National Missing and Unidentified Persons database no longer recognizes trans people, you might be able to get off grid easier than before. It's about the only upside I can give you, but yeah, just saying. report yourself missing, and then just into the wind, baby, into the wind. Yes, Vree, that is seriously. Cody, chill. I've been chill so far, but like you've been riding lines this entire time, Cody. I'm gonna pull that and just
To the beach
tell you to
with
like
our
pull back a
families
little bit,
because it
'cause
was
I know what
free,
comes next after you say that. So
open to the public, and SpaceX is changing all of that rapidly.
Boca Chica Beach is not only a popular spot for fishing and swimming, it's also a complex ecosystem, one of the most biologically diverse in North America, and home to endangered and protected species, including the ocelot, sea turtles, and the piping plover.
Yeah,
to
whatever, I don't
endangered
care
and
about
protected
them.
species, including the ocelot, sea...
somebody call Archer.
sea turtles, and the piping plover.
SpaceX is trampling over this entire site, singeing the wildlife, burning down part of the wildlife refuge. This region, most of the native habitat has been destroyed because of real estate development, industrialization, farming. We only have 3% left, and that 3% is being destroyed by SpaceX.
Oh, somebody gets me. Dude, Cody, it's fine. It's just, you gotta, God, Jesus, I hate these fucking, Jesus.
Penosa co-founded the Texas Environmental Justice Center, and along with other national and local environmental organizations, is suing the FAA and SpaceX for violation of the National Environmental Policy Act.
Don't worry,
NEPA.
we'll just eliminate that.
In order to build on the site, Musk had to do a thorough environmental impact statement, or EIS, under the National Environmental Protection Act. These reports are really comprehensive. They include impacts to air quality, carbon emissions, water usage, wildlife protection, as well as cultural and economic impacts. Initially, SpaceX got approval to launch the Falcon 9, a reliable and, after years of testing, safe rocket that takes cargo into lower orbit. But in 2018, SpaceX announced they would be launching the Starship Super Heavy, a rocket 20% larger than the Falcon 9 with 10 times the thrust. In a press conference, Musk said they would be testing their new rocket in Texas instead of the Kennedy Center in Florida because
It's got a lot of land with nobody around, so if it blows up, it's cool. If it blows up, it's cool.
this is a perfect example of a time the FAA should have conducted a second EIS, but instead did a simplified environmental assessment, or EA. Officials concluded that there would be no significant impact of launching this much larger rocket from Boca Chica Beach. That same year, before a single rocket took flight, SpaceX started a fire.
You're tubing. Cybertrucks don't do well anywhere. They're not a very reliable vehicle. they got a lot of issues.
During an engine test that engulfed 68 acres of brushland in flames and burned through the night. In spite of this, the first launch of Starship was scheduled for April 20th, 2023, aka weekday. Here's how the launch was supposed to go.
That's because it does look like a penis, because it's compensating for a dude with a broken penis. I've heard multiple times online, like I've seen that make the rounds, that apparently he had a botched penis pump surgery. Like, and that's why like most of his kids are done via like IVF and shit. They're not from sex. This isn't me doing the old meme of I've seen and heard. Like, he literally, like, I've seen that multiple times online about how, like, apparently the rumor between like Grimes and somebody is that he had a botched penis pump operation. And so, yeah. Trav, I don't even think they fit in our Hyperloop. Our Hyperloop's pretty small.
Starship was meant to orbit the Earth, with the booster landing in the Gulf of Mexico and the spaceship re-entering the atmosphere and landing in the Pacific Ocean. Instead, the launch pad exploded, sending debris across Boca Chica Beach and scorching more than 3 acres of land. A dust cloud poured over the nearby Port Isabel. Buildings shook, a window shattered.
Holy crap! Rocket is launching. See it on the ladder. It's like a soot. Big old layer cake of it. And they're trying to tell us it's sand.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's just sand. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. That rocket fuel is notoriously okay. It's like organic and stuff. It's you're fine. Just inhale deeply and help clean the air. You can contribute to your local SpaceX.
SpaceX hadn't installed flame diverters, or a simple and very necessary water deluge system, sending shards of concrete and rebar all across the beach. The spaceship also failed to separate from the booster.
The entire Starship stack continuing to rotate. We should have had separation by now.
And spiraled in orbit before exploding and landing into the Gulf of Mexico. Elon looked disappointed, but SpaceX assured viewers it was a success.
You never know.
We just detonated our launch pad. It's a success.
Exactly what's going to happen. But as we promised, excitement is guaranteed.
What Elon
What the fuck?
Musk and what SpaceX tells people is that we are so efficient, we have to develop our rockets.
You're right, Tex. Unplanned disassembly. Sorry.
By just testing them in the real world. We're not going to use as many computer models to make sure that everything's perfect. And if it blows up, then we're going to get even more data. It's actually good if it blows up.
Eric Roche is an environmental engineer who writes about SpaceX at his blog ESG Hound.
Those failures have externalities. Every time you launch a rocket, there's a sound wave, there's pollution, you are disrupting people's way of life.
Roche documented the damage after that first launch. Burned nests and eggs, dust and chunks of concrete, and scraps of metal on the beach.
NASA launches mostly from Kennedy Space Center, which is thousands of acres that was allocated by Congress. And so it has a buffer built in. Whereas SpaceX's launch site in Boca Chica is a tiny little spot of land, and it's surrounded by land that they don't own. It's very close to populated areas. And so those externalities are going to be magnified just by orders of magnitude.
The Kennedy Space Center was built using eminent domain, approved by Congress in 1964. But Musk hasn't gone through that same process. He's just slowly expanding the scale and scope of his operation. Roche says it's eminent domain by fiat.
I have never experienced an earthquake until SpaceX. The earthquakes that I experienced in my apartment, which is over 20 miles away, is an earthquake caused by a billionaire.
Before Musk could launch again, the FAA grounded the Starship and launched an investigation, conducted by SpaceX, but overseen by the FAA. They found 63 things that needed to be changed before the Starship could launch again. Musk and his fans goaded officials on Twitter, which Musk owns and has renamed X.com. The investigation closed in September, and the second launch was in November 2023. It was another failure.
The Super Heavy booster has just experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly.
But in 2024, during Starship's fifth flight, the reusable booster separated and returned to the launch tower, which was a major accomplishment for SpaceX. However, not a single one of the launches has successfully gotten cargo into orbit. Musk continued to publicly beef with the FAA, and in September 2024...
Cody, it really does. It really does sound like a Carlin bit. A rapid, unscheduled disassembly. It blew the fuck up. It experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. It blew the fuck up. You know, I'm glad there are times where I actually like, and this one of them, like, I'm glad Carlin's dead. Like, I know a lot of times, like, it's like, it would have been great to have Carlin around railing against this shit, but I don't want to have to see the live streamed, like, YouTube fucking Twitch footage of Carlin literally having a stroke on stage. I don't want to see that. That would have been bad. That would have been, you know, that would have been unpleasant to watch. Watch Uncle George fucking have a stroke literally on stage one night.
The FAA charged SpaceX $633,000.
No, I think he still killed more monkeys than blown up rockets, Robbo.
Violations at its Cape Canaveral station. Musk threatened to sue in return, but never did. As the 2024 election approached, he became increasingly vocal that a Trump victory would free SpaceX from unnecessary regulations.
I can't.
And on Twitter, John, after serving
and then
25,
they kicked the FAA out, and
start looking elsewhere. Mars is also just really inspiring. The idea of colonizing the moon and going to Mars is also.
Yeah, the Nazis wanted to do that too.
So just really inspiring.
And it's inevitable. I think the Earth is not infinite in its resources, so we got,
especially the way we're handling it,
to start looking elsewhere.
That same week, the FAA was hosting a.
I love the parasitic version of humanity that these guys aspire to. It's like, well, the world isn't infinite, so we're gonna have to use it up and find a new one. Like, Jesus Christ. Fuck homeostasis. Fuck finding balance. Fuck, logical and consistent and equitable usage of resources through a planned system. No. Bleed that bitch till she's dry and then find a new one. I swear to fucking Christ. Dispersion of its components. Jesus Christ.
Public forum to talk about SpaceX, increasing the number of launches a year from 5 to 25. Both Madranos and Becca Hinosa were there.
An EA is a concise document used to describe the anticipated environmental impacts.
Residents were able to talk to SpaceX representatives and make comments to a court reporter. They asked about damages to their foundations and windows. They wanted to know how 25 launches a year would. They asked about damages to their foundations and windows. They wanted to know how 25 launches a year would impact the fisheries and the wildlife.
The information that they're giving us is based on the 5.
Yeah.
Not on the
2022.
But that's also assuming that the climate is going to stay the same.
The window.
It takes about 30 seconds. It can be shaping it, but it's not expected to cause any serious damage to the houses.
25 makes me laugh, I mean, they had a hard time just with 5 or 6 and keeping all the debris that fall in the Gulf or fall in the bay or fall wherever it falls.
The FAA told us there wasn't a significant impact. We know that's not true. And what it looks like is the FAA, once again, just making steps to give SpaceX whatever license they want.
Of course.
The FAA still hasn't announced whether or not SpaceX will be allowed to launch 25 times a year.
Oh, they will. They will, given that they have been completely cucked by this administration at this point.
The 7th launch was late, a week late. So the beach was closed on Friday, and then Saturday, Wednesday, and Thursday, when the rocket finally launched. It ended with an explosion over Turks and Caicos.
The vehicle just exploded. The stunning aftermath could be seen by passengers on a plane. This same flight to Miami was rerouted to avoid the debris. Other flights were also diverted.
The FAA ground SpaceX again. In December 2024, SpaceX made another surprise announcement. They would apply to incorporate the town of Starbase. For Starbase to become a town, they'll need 201 residents and a majority vote. Luckily for the future town of Starbase, the vast majority of residents in Boca Chica Village are now SpaceX employees that rent from their boss. As SpaceX was developing the Starship, they were also buying up houses in a tiny unincorporated resort town just a few miles from Boca Chica Beach. Boca Chica Village had just 38 houses, mostly occupied by part-time residents that winter in Texas. In 2019, SpaceX offered to buy out all of the residents, saying that with new FAA safety regulations, it wasn't safe for people to stay in the village.
This letter that SpaceX sent out is more of a bully attack, a hostile takeover.
But at the same time, SpaceX was moving their employees into town and expanding. Soon there were airstreams.
Zarf, there won't be a need to segregate that town because he won't hire black people.
Trailers lining the block, and a new name for the street that was once called Weem Street. Meme Street. If incorporated, Starbase
God.
Could fund its own utilities, infrastructure, or security forces, and it could create its own local ordinances. It would no longer be a part of Brownsville.
It's one thing to come and try to work hand in hand with the community.
Everything he does is so fucking cringe.
It is here,
it's so
but
over
it's
the
another
top
thing
cringe.
to absolutely, and I see this, the actual takeover of everything.
SpaceX has already proven to be a bad neighbor, and that's why most of us don't want it anymore.
You're gonna see Elon Musk a lot in the news these days for his role in dismantling key parts of our federal government. But the real purpose of Doge isn't efficiency, it's deregulation. Musk has shown he wants no oversight for himself or other billionaires like him. The story of Boca Chica is crucial to understanding Musk's playbook for seizing public resources and justifying his campaign as part of a grand vision for humanity, whether that's landing on Mars or creating a more efficient government, a revolution for the people, as he's called it.
I wonder, like, in 10 years, when he's done with whatever he's going to be doing, what's going to happen to this area?
Oh, I can tell you. There's a lot of places around the world that actually could tell you exactly what that place will look like in 10, 20, 50 years. Yeah, say hi to increased rates of Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, a whole host of different types of cancers. The wildlife is going to just be fucked. Just flora and fauna both fucked, basically. Your real estate market is going to be just a absolute clusterfuck of landlord and rentier class bullshit. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah, that's if you survive, of course. But anyway, good luck to you. Say goodbye to your land and hello to infertility, cancers, lung conditions, genetic defects, and much, much more. Brought to you by SpaceX. In the Arctic in Canada, Inuit lifespan was often 100 to 120 years old. Now it's 55. Petroleum. Come on, guys. I mean, it's fucking non-binary.
Pizza is good. It's so familiar.
Okay, we're gonna watch a thing about pizza, but not really about pizza.
Pizza is good. It's so familiar and like inviting. This pan pizza, it had a special place in our hearts because every Friday we had it at school. You know, special occasions we had it in the penitentiary. Yeah, so it was like always a pan style pizza. What better way to break into the culinary industry than with pizza?
Jobs, housing, and legal representation for formerly incarcerated individuals.
Try to use warm water as far as infused with yeast and sugar to activate the yeast. The whole thing as far as with us, the dough, it's not like it's a secret ingredient and all that. It's just the process of doing it. Yeah, flour, water, oil, sugar, and yeast. Basic things to make a dough. If I was to use like cold water with the dough, it would be hard to pull out. But when you're using a certain type of temperature of water, it makes the dough easy to poof, easy to rise, easy to manipulate. I'm gonna add the flour. It's 50-pound bags of flour. I dealt with dough before, but not as far as like this. Mike, he had a whole idea as far as doing the dough different than from what other pizza shops do. Can't say exactly what that is, but it's what separates our dough from everybody else. So now I'm gonna add our oil.
Our specific type of dough is super hydrated. Our dough is so resilient under the temperatures that we put it in, and it remains soft.
Yeah, well, me and Miz used to do this a lot, so I got to do it a lot with them. Been going through trial and error. Yo, let's try this. Yo, let's try that. And just try to keep finding ways to tweaking it, to making it better. I get all night to do it. I got 10 hours to knock this out. Being in here at night, all I hear is hand chopping, maybe rain against the window, the dough. If you listen, you can hear it talking. Like that screeching, it's the dough. It's pulling from you hear it like it's pulling from the inside of the cylinder of the mixer. So now I know it's properly mixing. It's pulling from the side. Our dough wraps. The salt we're gonna put in as far as going near the end of the spin. And we don't wanna kill the yeast too early because we wanna be able to poof properly. When I let the salt blend in, it's really gonna smooth out like a ball. And I'll be able to pull it out, get the whamming with it. This the funny part, when I gotta grease all up, so the dough don't stick to my skin. I got the burns and everything on me for going deep in the oven, and I put oil over it. Then the fun part is when I gotta stick these hands that's covered in oil back in the oven. The funny thing is, as I'm pulling it out, the dough is fighting to get back in. Feel the tension and the resistance from it, yeah.
Actually, the overhydration came by mistake, especially like during the summertime making the dough, like you got the humidity in the summertime. So it was really about finding out how much water we had to add. And once we hit that ratio, it was like, we're here. Mortimer, we're back.
This is about 80 pounds. See how that happened? So there's a certain amount of grams as far as we go for each dough. So these pans are like the old Detroit motor tins that they used to use back in the day. I'm gonna grease them up and get the whipping with it. We're not just in it just to make $1. They come because as far as what our mission is, as far as what our premise, as far as what our goal is, and it's to make change. You know, we already got the label on us anyway. A lot of things they don't be wanting to hear, period. Skill set, nothing. Shout out to Muhammad. You know what? We don't hire nobody unless they previously convicted. We take care of ourselves, we provide for ourselves, and we love ourselves. Like a lot of us came a long way 10 years ago. Think I'd be doing pizza and, you know what I mean, talking to y'all, this, that, and third. We was in dark places. It's like a good thing for us to be able to come here, you know, do something good. I got 5 sons. I'm trying to leave something, be a part of something that they could say, yo, yeah, my dad did that. Yo, that's my dad. be able to provide to them so, you know what I mean, they can achieve better. That stepping stone, something that somebody never left for us. So a lot of people wrap their dough. And I was sitting in here one day and somebody had the heat on blazing. That's like poofing faster. So that's just one of the secrets as far as the dough. I turn the heat all the way up. It's saving me a step. Happy dough.
The thing that the carceral system has evolved in is like a big, big business. You know, the second largest employer in the United States. You can get people to do things for a fraction of what you would have to pay them if they were out here on the street. You know, a lot of everyday things are made within the prison. Over time, seeing the benefits of utilizing these people, you know, essentially as an extension of slavery. We're trying to just mitigate a lot of people going in and out of the system.
Who has joined us is the executive chef Mike Carter, the man behind the dough. I just make the dough. He made the dough, you know what I mean? Yeah, cause I'm happy because you here. Please keep in mind that we are previously corrected, so we strongly are about ours. We are happy, we are smiling, but we are serious about ours.
So right now, I'm pressing the dough. You ever get a piece of pizza and it has like that big ass air bubble in it? So what I'm doing right now is pressing this out and basically condensing it. That's where you get the chewiness of the dough at. People have to understand, like, in order to get this perfect square pie, you have to press it into the corners. Like, it's real laborious work, but it's worth it. It's part of the craft. You gotta put that love into it. Mario used to be my boss, man.
No, we don't use words like that down north. Previously was working with Mike.
But he used to give me hours, yeah. So, like, basically the same part that I played for him once upon a time, like, he played that for me. Marv was one of the first people I called. We've been rocking out Scarface and Manolo minus Gina ever since.
We don't have no outside. Everything is in-house. This is 100% private. It's ours.
I think this style was more of Muhammad's push towards the nostalgia. We was talking about, like, when we grew up off Elio's and that school pizza. All you had to do is come home from school, set the oven, and there you go. There's something about pizza, man. You can see how it starts filling the pan up, like rising all the way up. It's all the way into the corners. It's ready to be a canvas. We got Blodgett deck ovens. They go up to 650, and they're hot as shit. I got the proof and all that all the way up to the top of my arm. We always bake them off prior to orders so that we're ready to fire. Yeah, the oven repair guy, I watched him enough that I do it myself now so we don't have to call. Learn how to fix your equipment. I opened this restaurant with the top oven not working. It just went out on me. And I still had to make it happen. Everything was down here and I was doing so many squats, my legs started locking up. When you talk about hard work and dedication, I could literally kick doors off the hinges. See, a lot of people go by the dictionary definition of recidivism, which is somebody who comes from prison and reoffends. But recidivism is a system that works to recycle people back into the system. And in 2017, I actually caught a case. The officer in my case was shot in the line of duty. So they postponed my case for 27 months. I only owed the state 6 months for a violation, an absconding violation. They were able to hold me without bail for 27 months. Every judge that it went in front of, no, we're gonna hold it over for the officer. And then I get in front of this lady and she's like, he's been sitting for 27 months and the only reason he's still in here is because he's on parole for something that happened when he was 19? Man, dismissed with prejudice. That same officer, and he retired 2 years after that. He never came back to the line of duty. So technically, if I didn't get in front of that one judge, I would have sat for 5 years on a case I was never convicted of. So you can't have a hotel that's full of vacancies. You gotta fill it up. And that's what we deal with every day. 1 foot in the jail, 1 foot out the jail. As you can see, I need to get a better can opener, but I'll make it happen.
Like I said, it's about pizza, but it's not really about pizza.
The North sauce is our signature tomato sauce. Spicy, smoky, sweet, savory sauce that's better than anybody's sauce. We're about to dress this sauce up real nice. This is the sauce that I use for my lasagna. This is the sauce I use for my spaghetti. Arrabbiata sauce, the angry sauce. I had that at a restaurant when I was younger, and it was just like, yeah, I like it like this. Even when I live with my grandma, I'm like, Mama, can I get make mine a little spicier? She's like, y'all love some spicy stuff in your mom family. Yeah, we do. It's just, I grew up eating hot shit. Like, my whole family, like, we've been eating hot sauce since we was babies. It's art to me. It's like, I was always an artist, an artsy kind of kid. I just fell into the streets, more or less survival type situation, economical. My whole life I've been around chefs, cooks. We always sat around the table and we broke bread. I'm grandma's baby, so I'm always inside of the house. Mama, what you making? Mama, let me taste that. And Mama making macaroni and cheese, I'm still in the cubes. I was that
Next to all of them have them. All of them have them.
kid, so like this has always been a part of me, like cooking. Before I got locked up when I was 19, I was registered to go to the restaurant school at Walnut Hill. And it's the way I survived when I was in jail. Even when I was incarcerated, it was always like, what can I make with these soups and these crackers? Oh, pizza dough. Like, that's my original pizza dough that I was making when I was locked up. I was using ramen noodles and cheeses with a water circulator and a bucket. So, but this is normally how I like to start off. I try to keep all cheese on dough. Cheese is the primer. So we have a 4-cheese blend, provolone, Mott's blend, Grand Marave. It's like a Ukrainian Parmesan, same funky effect. All of them use the same type of cheese except for my vegan pies. What a No Better Love. What perfect name for a cheese pizza, because everybody loves cheese pizza. So this is the No Better Love, our top selling, next to the Rock the Mic, which is the beef pepperoni one.
You need basic necessities. You need food, you need shelter. When so many doors are being shut, essentially y'all just giving them a basket to carry water in. For you to be pigeonholed to something that may have happened while you were figuring out life for the rest of your life, that's not fair. Because people are constantly growing. The common misconception about returning citizens, that they're not trying to evolve. They're trying their hardest. Before they, come out, they're talking about what they want to do. Anything as simple as interaction with a police officer is considered a violation. That could put you back in.
This is the Rock the Mic. Rock the Mic, that's our beef pepperoni pie. All our beef products are halal. All right, we coming out with the Uptown Vibe. Uptown Vibe, that's our veggie pie. I've had to lie my way into every kitchen I've ever been into. Like, when you get that big work gap in your resume, I was working at SCI Greensburg in the kitchen. Here, you don't have to lie about who you are. It's just like the same struggle that people don't know about. It bonds us. And like, we've been humbled in the worst way. So like, when people see us, a little antisocial to them, but it's like, it's normal to us. Like, we've been dehumanized. We're trying to like rehumanize us to like society. We joke all day, all games, laugh, play, and it's like, we wouldn't get a chance to actually be our true selves in another work environment where we gotta hide that. Okay, this is the Rock the Mic. Like, a big part of down north opening up, I'm like, it's illegal for us to be together. Like, my guys, we all working together. It's a parole violation to be in a company of other felons. So we're gonna need a lawyer. He made sure, yeah, we got a lawyer.
The foundation, the support, the resources that we provide. One thing is giving them a job. We also have apartments that we have that they have access to if they need them. We want to amplify that and put that on the forefront of what we do and why we do it. Because a lot of it boils down to lack of resources. Giving chances, giving resources, how they can turn things around. A place where they can be the best version of themselves because they are being themselves.
Ooh, so that's to break you off right there. Getting that? Now, to break you off is a white pizza. So I got a lemon ricotta base that I start with, then my traditional 4-cheese blend. We got a spicy lamb sausage. My guy Miles, he wanted to do this lamb sausage situation. It's just like, I had some garlic honey up there that I had sitting for months. And it was so pungent and garlicky. And so when we pulled it out, it was just like, at first we were just gonna put Zataro on top of it. And then it was like, hey, let's put this on there. And it's like, we got it. We put it out on Thursday and we were sold out by Saturday afternoon, and it's been a staple ever since. And can't forget that cheese fence. Crown in the industry, but it's the fence because we're combating recidivism. Okay, so this is flip side. Economically, like, this neighborhood is impoverished, so you have people that do whatever to survive. So when they get a chance to actually see some entrepreneurs come into the neighborhood that actually care about the neighborhood and they're outside sweeping, they're cleaning up, that's dope, because I feel like representation is big and a lot of us are underrepresented. Ooh. Okay, it is time. We have a special right now. Only reason I didn't put it on the menu because it's Philadelphia. They expect us to have a cheesesteak pizza all the time. So my side of town, I got a shaved ribeye, some fried onions on top, and a house-made whiz. So it's like a whiz with pizza. Tales of a Hustler. I'm from West.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is the piece that we're watching about a pizza shop that is set up specifically for people who had been previously incarcerated and run through the underprivileged portion of society to prison pipeline that then introduces legal representation for them, housing for them, and jobs for them, all with co-ownership in the program. Is that not political enough for you? Should we not talk about the prison industrial complex in North America? Yeah. The racist, white supremacist, patriarchal prison industrial complex that utilizes prison slave labor in order to further the capitalistic goals of our oligarchical masters. Because that's the video we're actually watching.
Philly, so young Sparks from the back street with them grams of slum.
In fact, my stepfather was a judge. No, I've never done a day in jail because I was from the privileged portion of society and I got to see it from the other side. Yeah. I got to see the racism right up close. I got to see the patriarchal nature of it right up close because I was on the other side of the bench. Yeah. I got to hear the stepfather who sent motherfuckers to jail for being black talk about N-words behind their backs. I got to hear him talk about fucking poor people who don't know anything because they didn't have proper schooling. Yeah, I got to see that shit right up close in my face. So I'm firmly aware of the nature of our prison industrial complex and how fucked up it is. And because I have empathy, because I'm not a dumb fuck who doesn't have a closed heart, I looked at that and said, oh, that's fucked up. I can empathize and sympathize with the positionality of somebody who would be antithetical to the existence of that system. Yeah. Because I'm not fucking dumb as shit. I took one look at that and went, oh, that's fucked up. Fuck my stepdad. Fuck that system. Yeah, because you have to suffer under it for you to realize that it had... Dumb fuck. Get the fuck out of here. Or get the fuck on air and actually talk to me. Come on air. Come on, big boy. Nut up. Get on air and fucking have a chat. We're not triggered. We've been waiting for a moron like you for a little bit. That's why the stream title isn't what it was. You got baited in. Homie, I desperately want to get a moron like you on the air so I can batter you around. I had a day. My voice is trembling. Listen to it tremble. So get on the air and put the fear of a big, strong, heterosexual, cisgendered white man in me. I got the vapors. Come on, bitch. Get on air, you cowardly little punk. You can do it. Yeah, we fishing. Motherfucker, we got one on the hook. Nope. Grew up on the mountains of Vermont, surrounded by anarchists. Then I lived in the deep south. Then I lived in the southwest, surrounded by Hispanic workers. Fucking, yeah, I've been all over this country. 48 contiguous states by the age of 19, baby. Let's do this. Come on, baby, get on air. You can do it. You're low-key racist. No. I just happen to live in a farming and agricultural community. And I saw what motherfuckers like you who take advantage of our agricultural workers, who, by the way, are overwhelmingly 98.8-ish% Hispanic. Most of them oppressed by people like you who demand cheap eggs and cheap produce and don't want to pay a man a fair wage. Happen to live in one of those communities. Yeah. Get on air, motherfucker. Get on air. Get on air. Oh, by the way, everybody in this community has the power to time you out, just FYI. So when you run your course, anybody in chat with you can fucking time you out. Just so you know. So, anyway. All right, well.
I feel like that song for our era, my generation, was like the anthem for Philly.
Since Bobby here is too much of a bitch-made little bootlicking supplicant, he ain't gonna get on air. He's one of them 99% fucking cowards that we get. He never put up. Oh well, blue-balled once again. Let's see. What are we gonna watch? All right, let's go over to. Ooh. Well, we could do that. Could do the Sammy one. Oh, Uncivilized. They do good work.
If we could find the right piece of land.
Oh, yeah.
And build them some really nice places.
Oh, nothing like a ethnic cleansing for.
Jordan, and they could be in Egypt.
Hey, look, it's the Nazi in
Settlers have
chief.
been trying to erase the indigenous for a very long time, and they've developed lots of tools for the toolbox. War, disease,
Are we doing
famine,
another video on
settlements,
4x3?
the education
Is there a
camps.
resurgence of 4x3 videos or some shit?
But
Is this
there's
an
one in
aesthetic
particular
choice
that's
that's
been
happening?
on my mind. Forcible transfer.
And you'd have people living in a place that could be very beautiful.
It's interesting because if you survive the move,
Not the people who, actually come from there,
you're still
of course.
alive. You carry with you your memories and you fight to pass them down to your children and them to theirs.
This is Cabri Forest.
But there's something else that dies. Something bigger and older than any individual life or home left behind. The essence of a people. So what exactly gets lost when you uproot a people? If you like our work and want to help us continue telling stories like this, you can become a paid member of our Patreon. Now back to the video. From the moment I saw this painting, I was mesmerized. Mostly by her hands. They're big and strong, and she carries all those oranges effortlessly, like her hands were made for it. She feels really familiar, and looks so out of place. It's called The Immigrant by Palestinian artist Sleiman Mansour. I first saw it in Bethlehem in 2018, on my trip to Palestine. I was there alone, going through the grief and honor of being back on our land, not just for myself, but for the whole family. Because I was the first person able to actually go back. So I logged everything. Looking through all the pictures now, it's mostly of the land. Especially when I got to what used to be our village, Al-Kabri. It's on the outskirts of Akka, in the north of occupied Palestine, Al-Kabri.
Let's see. Hold on. Is that okay? Yeah, there's Kabri. All right, so sorry. K-A-B-R. Well, it's technically I or a Y sound. So there's Kabri. And that's actually so kibbutz, kibbutz, and then so that's interesting. So like in the Arabic, kibbutz actually needs because they wouldn't have, because that's going to be coming from Hebrew, so it's not transliterated directly. So it's going to be a translation. But the Kabri is the direct Arabic.
It's on the outskirts of Akka, in the north of occupied Palestine. Our village is one of over 500 Palestinian towns and villages that were destroyed when Zionist militia...
Her dialect strays from the MSA dialect for the R sound.
...ethnically cleansed Palestine.
They tend to roll it a little bit.
I took lots of pictures for my family to see, and for myself.
It's like we never existed.
To try to hold on to it. To this plot of earth that, to Israelis, is now a highway,
a sterile road,
a national forest, and a kibbutz. But to me, to us, this was home for, as far as we can trace it, a very long time.
We were driving through the kibbutz that they built, and you should see the trees that they have. I swear to God, a pomegranate tree with the biggest, fattest, ripest, most red pomegranate. The color is so vibrant, so healthy.
It just dawned on me that they actually used an A for Kabri. Tradition, like so far I've seen like a lot of words they would just go to a K, a B, an R, and then the E. The ri. Okay, interesting.
I asked my family what we used to grow on our land besides tobacco, which I knew. Vegetables, fruits.
Ooh, this font is kind of rough for me. It's a little bit of a curly font. I struggle with the curly fonts. Can't tell you what most of these words. I can't tell you any of these words. I actually like. I can tell you the oohs. So this is sort of an and sort of situation. They're like they're chaining a bunch of stuff together, but. Yeah, can't tell you what any of these words mean, but like for a bunch of them, like I can see the letters, like I could sound out a bunch of these words. That's about it.
Oranges, lemons, and grapes. It wasn't easy to get the information.
You don't understand how gorgeous it is here.
My dad reached out to his cousin, who asked his uncle, who also lived in the village. I wonder how much else we lost that I don't even know to ask about.
They just raised the village. Like that's
I wonder
the Israeli
how much else we lost that I don't even know to ask
just
about.
Just gone.
See, when a people are uprooted, they may have survived, they may be alive, but there's something invaluable that can die. Something immaterial and bigger than any individual life. And it's this thing that explains what it means to be indigenous. I realized this when I was learning about another indigenous people halfway across the world. They called it Turtle Island, and for thousands of years it was home to millions of Native Americans. In the Pacific Northwest, abundant...
No, some of them called it Turtle Island. God damn it. Che put a trigger warning on this for me. Like, literally, Che put a trigger warning on this video for me. I knew it was coming somewhere. they called it Turtle Island. Okay, first off, large group of people, lots of distinct cultures, lots of distinct origin stories, lots of distinct like origin myths. Okay, not even close to all of them called it Turtle Island. Only one chunk of them called it Turtle Island. While I recognize that in the modernity, that there is sort of a pan-indigenous movement that recognizes through solidarity the utilization of this term, the statement of they called it Turtle Island is really, really ahistorical and kind of infuriating from a linguistic, etymological, historical, and cultural anthropology point of view. It's really reductive and exclusionary of a shit ton of indigenous people. It's kind of doing the like dominant white perspective because, okay, so the reason we know about Turtle Island the most is because white people talked like Turtle Island comes from a cluster of sort of expansionist indigenous groups on the northeast coast, and settlers interacted with them. And so it became a dominant narrative. By saying something like that, you're kind of almost saying the one that white people like heard and kind of went with is the one that we like. It's really, I have a lot of problems with it. If you want to use it in solidarity with the modern pan-indigenous movement, that's fine. I have no qualms with that. I need the added context so people understand like a maybe 3% of indigenous population, culturally speaking, in North America and down through Central America, and definitely down through like Mexico into sort of border Central America, referred to this location as Turtle Island. Maybe 3%. All right, it's not. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. We'll let that go.
Forests and waterways created cultures centered on fishing and forestry, like the Tlingit.
It'd be like in 100 years if we called hip-hop music as Hamilton music. I mean, it kind of is, Trav. It kind of is. It's like that's the one that the white people recognized. Yeah.
Tlingit speakers don't say left or right. They say toward the water or toward the mountains. One ancient narrative they tell is of Salmon Boy, a story that speaks to how salmon, a central part of their sustenance and culture, feel, make choices, and respond to human actions.
Oh yeah, that happened all the time, Rabba. That happened with white people all the time. They'd show up and they'd go, "What is this place?" And the people would be like, "It's land," or it's, like us. Or it's just like, they'd give them some answer. It's like, oh, it's by the river bank. It's the fucking riverbank. And white people would just be like, it's called the riverbank. And it's like, you do realize we were just talking about like right here? Like, God. Yeah, it irritates me on a level that it's just infuriating. And like, I had this explained to me by an expert on this topic. This isn't just me being a white guy talking about some crazy shit and having an opinion. I had an expert in indigenous studies with fucking PhDs and shit and like in archaeology, anthropology, I always forget, fucking rabbits, fucking, like I had a professor in this shit explain this to me. Okay, like I'm not talking out my ass here. I had a dude who specializes in this shit. Literally, it's anthropology. Thank you. Actually explain this to me on air. Right? An indigenous person who specializes in this, who has postgraduate work, who teaches this shit. All right? At a postgraduate level. All right? It drives me nuts sometimes. It's just like, look, it's super exclusionary. Yeah, it was, Robbo. Like, it's super exclusionary. Like, it's just like, dude, you do know the indigenous population was more than like one tribe, right? Like, you do realize that it wasn't like the North America was just like, there was a lot of fuckers here, like Millions, in fact. Many millions. Spread over distinct cultures and social groups with distinct mythologies and religions and tales of origin. It's so fucking infuriating sometimes. And it comes from that weird leftist space of sort of like noble savage bullshit, where you're just like, what the fuck? Like, they were perfect before the white man showed up. Never was there conflict. Never was there injustice. They were the perfect human beings. They were as if they were babes, pure and undriven, no sin amongst man. And then white people showed up. And it's like, homie, so you're saying they weren't human? Come on, man. They were human. Just like the rest of us. They did fucked up shit all the time. They had conquering war tribes. Like, my tribe had to fight for their lives against the Mohawk. Peaceful, my ass. We humans. Exactly. Like, come on. It's that noble savage shit that leftists especially go in for. And it's like, that's some dehumanizing shit, my guy. They weren't one people. All right? There's a lot of them. A lot of distinct groups, a lot of distinct individuality as well within them. And also, like, they were human. All right, let's rein that shit in. Anyway.
In
the Great Plains, bison herding was the main way of life for tribes like the Lakota.
Not surprising, Caboose. Yeah, not surprising.
So life followed the herds and was nomadic.
Ah, Kavas, you're right.
Buffalo were central to survival, culture, and spirituality.
They clothed us, they fed us, they gave us inner strength to carry on.
The buffalo adopted the Indian, the Lakota, as his younger brother.
And in the southeast, fertile lands allowed for large-scale agriculture. This area was home to the Cherokee, who, along with others, used complex irrigation systems to grow the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash, grown together in a sustainable system where each plant supported the other. They also, along with many other tribes across North America, practiced controlled burning, which would clear undergrowth and make space for edible plants and medicinal herbs. This maintained healthy forests and reduced wildfires.
Work with nature, expand habitat, decenter humans, and design for perpetuity.
And there's way more. Before the first arrival of settlers, around 250 distinct languages were spoken. And each of these languages is inseparable from the land it comes from. The mountains, rivers, forests, and creatures of every region are woven into the language, stories, ceremonies, and way of life of the people who live there, and are considered animate beings. Losing access to this land would mean losing access to this language, which is losing an entire system of knowledge and spiritual connection. Unfortunately, that would come to happen for many Native American tribes, when settlers arrived with a very different philosophy towards the land.
They often mislabeled them as virgin land or wilderness instead of what they really were, living heirlooms, thousands of years in the making.
Settlers to the New World saw this land not as a living, breathing being, but as a blank canvas, a 2D backdrop to carve out a new civilizational fantasy. They did a lot to clear the natives: massacres, disease, broken treaties, but we're looking at forcible transfer. The most famous example comes from the Southeast. It's known as the Trail of Tears. It's when the US government forcibly removed thousands of indigenous people from their ancestral lands in the 1830s. People were marched at gunpoint with little food and poor shelter for hundreds of miles in extreme weather.
Fucking Christ, Robbo. My response would have been, yeah, wouldn't that have been better? right? Like, if it wasn't for us, you'd still be chasing the buffalo. Yeah, we would be. That you'd be so much better without you. You'd be so much better. Yeah, 10 out of 10, no notes. You ready to go back home? Fucking.
Sick and feeble, many near death. One woman was carrying her youngest child who was dying in her arms.
Those that survived the journey made it to a radically different terrain, Oklahoma.
And no one should be subjected to Oklahoma.
Thousands of years of self-sufficiency, language, science, medicine, diet, spirituality, all tethered to the land, suddenly suspended from the reality they're based on. In this new reality, resources weren't as abundant, and communities were split up. Previously self-sufficient and environmentally sustainable tribes became dependent on US government rations. Cut off from their sacred sites, ceremonies and spiritual practices began fading away. And they cut them off from one another. Children were sent to boarding schools where, separated from their families, they were forcibly assimilated into white Euro-American culture. Yes, they were alive, but something else was being killed. Inherited knowledge, science refined over generations, a responsibility to tend to the plants and animals of a region, a sense of collective self, totally uprooted. Things that define a culture and a people are learned organically, from just existing in your community on your land. Removing the land removes the space for that exchange, and splitting up communities makes trying to collect that knowledge to save it so much harder. I wonder what words we had in our dialect that we lost to the Nakba, what rituals around land we would perform, what creatures we tended to. I'm sure it's out there somewhere or in someone. Thankfully, they didn't manage to expel us all.
أتذكر هذا الشارع اللي أكل من إجري رأت وأنا رايح على المدرسة في المدرسة الكابرة أنا تعلمت كنا عايشين مش بيقولوا مهد عيسى يا أخي إحنا كنا عايشين في الجنة في مهد عيسى صدقني إن اكتفاء ذاتي جماعة فلاحين على قدنا عايشين بأرضنا مبسوطين.
But they expelled plenty. Just like Turtle Island, with tribes changing as the land does, Palestine's diverse terrain is home to diverse, old relationships to the land. That's why so many of our symbols are from the land. The sabr, the date, the figs, the grapes, the watermelon, the orange, za'atar, and of course, the olive tree. Every year after the first rainfall of October, it's harvesting season. Families gather to pick trees that are hundreds of years old, on groves passed down from generation to generation.
When you ask them, for example, how do you think your olive yield is going to be this year? Their answer is always about, depends on my service. They believe they are serving the tree. And I know this all sounds so romantic in some way, but actually it's still in the language. They call it service. It is a relationship based on reciprocity rather than one person using the soil and abusing the soil to get the crop they want.
The land finds its way into Palestinian clothing too. The embroidery, or tatriz, on women's clothing would reflect the area, town, or village of the person wearing it, and the natural landscape of every region. And the land is central in our music and our dance. And despite the differences from place to place, Palestinians have always been in communication with one another, trading and exchanging, traveling, gathering for ceremonies and festivals. Until they came.
The colonist aggressive attitude towards the native peasants stemmed from their anger towards those who reminded them that there is still another people in the land of Israel that have been living there and does not intend to leave.
They say it was a land without a people for a people without a land. And that they...
Yep. Same thing here. Same thing. Same fucking thing here. Bunch of colonists showed up and said, look at this unspoiled virgin land with no one on it for which we can use to build our new society. Hey, excuse me, could you scoot over? Yeah, I just need you to move that way a bit. Anyway, this land with no one on it. This land that is completely empty. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of fucking people around here. Could you move? Same thing. Colonial settler projects, man. They do the same thing everywhere they go.
Made the desert bloom. In 1948, Zionist militias methodically ethnically cleansed Palestine for Zionist settlement, leading to the expulsion of 750,000 Palestinians from their homes. We call this the Nakba. The new reality was a fragmented Palestine carved into 4 new colonial geographies: the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the 48 territories, what they call Israel. That's where our village was. Some Palestinians were able to remain, but many were effectively transferred to refugee camps both in these new territories and in neighboring countries like Jordan and Lebanon. My maternal grandmother was in the womb when her father was killed, the first martyr from our village, and her mother left on foot, alone, pregnant, and with 4 other children, to Lebanon. She made it to a camp called Burj al-Barajne, where my grandmother would be born and raised, and would eventually meet my grandfather. My paternal grandparents were from the same village. They left to Burj al-Barajne too. It's one of 12 Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon that are still around today.
The camera's not even doing it justice, I swear to God.
I think it's hard to gather information about what we lost in Palestine because the trauma didn't end with leaving El Kabri. It continued in Lebanon.
Their right to work and own property are limited by Lebanese law.
Life in Lebanon for Palestinian refugees was not easy. They left behind their property and their wealth and their lives to start from scratch in a new place.
Yep. As fucked as Jordan, look, Jordan should be condemned for all eternity of how they 2-timed all of their Arab neighbors. As fucked as Jordan is, the refugees that came to them, they said, do you want citizenship? Do you want to be Jordanian? And they gave them full citizenship. And about 50% of the refugees that came to Jordan took them up on that offer. The other 50 said, no, we see that as a refutation or, us remitting our claim to our homeland. So no, we won't. But they put the offer outright. Do you just want to be citizens? We'll pathway you in. All of the other Arab neighbors, on the other hand, either made them second-class citizens, eternal refugees, or put so many bureaucratic barriers in their way that even if they did want to give up, in a sense, and become citizens of these new lands, they really couldn't to the fullest extent. Jordan was the only one that stepped up and basically said, you want in? Again, fuck that. Fuck Jordan eternally. For all of their 2-timing behavior at a governmental level. Look, the Jordanian people to be separated from the Jordanian government, and the monarch, of course, fuck Abdullah. I'm sorry, Abdullah. Fuck Abdullah, right? But Lebanon did the same shit. Yep.
Where they were and still are barred from working in 39 different fields, including law, engineering, and medicine.
See? You will forever be a second-class citizen.
بعتذر منك ما مشغل فلسطينية. قلت له بس بدي أسألك سؤال إنه أنت مرائك خلقت لبناني يعني مرائك أنت خلقت لبناني وأنا خلقت فلسطيني؟ قال لي مش من عنا الوزارة ما بتقبل تشغل فلسطيني.
And then in 1975, there was the Lebanese Civil War.
The toll of human life is horrifying.
Which started when Lebanese Falangist militias ambushed a bus carrying Palestinian civilians, killing 27 people.
When Jordan expelled the Palestinian guerrillas in 1970, many of them moved into Lebanon, from whose southern border they could stage raids against Israel.
We are against the Palestinian because we think that the whole problem is the Palestinian.
They're not even like, Camille, they're not even like second class. They're just bottom class. They're just not allowed to be. Like, they can't move up the social ladder. They're restricted from all sorts of government subsidy, like, you know, welfare handouts, fucking that sort of stuff. They are, yeah. If you have that Palestinian classification in Lebanon, you're kind of fucked. Like, yeah. And it's been that way since long before I was on the scene. So, yeah. Yeah, it's and it's that way. Like I said, Jordan is the only one in the surrounding area that actually like gave them full citizenship.
150,000 Palestinians in Lebanon. This is our problem.
The war lasted 15 years and saw thousands of Palestinians massacred.
The ruins of a Palestinian refugee camp on the outskirts of Beirut. The immensity of the crime shocked the world. The killers, members of a Lebanese rightist militia, got away as easily as they had arrived. To do so, they had to pass through Israeli lines.
During the war, Israel invaded Lebanon, overseeing massacres and bombing campaigns. My aunt Buran was killed when Israel bombed the bus she was on in 1982.
Yep.
That's it.
What's been passed down to me about El Kabri is factual. What we grew, who our neighbors were, how we lived. But there's information I crave that I'm not sure survived in our family. How did we tend to these plants? When did we harvest? What did we call a specific bud? What plants did we use medicinally? Like most Palestinian refugees, they left in a hurry with their keys in their pockets, expecting to come back. I don't think they had the time or luxury to pause and collect these tidbits in the middle of more unfolding trauma. Thankfully, not all of us were transferred. Many remained and continue to keep these traditions alive and are working on preserving and reviving them for future generations. But Israel continues to try to forcibly remove Palestinians from their land, either explicitly
to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again.
Demon.
President Trump is taking it to a much higher level.
Satan.
Or by making life so unlivable that Palestinians might voluntarily leave.
Families on the move.
You know, you can just look at you can look at a picture, you can look at a still and go, which one of these people is the one who is the oppressor or the oppressed? I don't know. Is it the old man just trying to pick some fucking crops, tend to his field, or is it the fucking jackbooted thug pointing an assault rifle at him?
That Palestinians might voluntarily leave.
I don't know. It's
Families
confusing.
on the move. Just some of the tens of thousands of Palestinians whom Israeli soldiers have forced from their homes in the occupied West Bank.
Yo, I know. You're right, Walada. You're right. Two sides. It's very complicated. I get it. You're right. My bad.
Did to Gaza, they're now doing to us.
Yep.
In the West Bank, it looks like home demolitions, land seizures.
That building was Hamas.
Tearing up roads.
That road was
denying
Hamas.
electricity, denying water.
That tree was Hamas. That kid was Hamas.
And there's a particular
that
terror
grass was
reserved for
Hamas.
Palestinian shepherds and farmers, still deeply rooted in the land.
Those 300 trees were Hamas.
And in Gaza, getting people to voluntarily leave looks like maintaining a suffocating, oppressive siege, where at one point, Israel even controlled how many calories made it in. And of course, indiscriminately decimating the strip. Its people, its infrastructure.
Look at all those
and its
Hamas
land.
buildings.
The orchards, farms, trees, soil, groundwater, sea, and air were all directly targeted to make Gaza unlivable, to break the connection to the land by
that
breaking
farm was
the
Hamas.
land.
شجر الزيتون هذا كله هان مات تعرض لضربة قوية.
It wasn't just a genocide, it was also ecocide.
How many olive trees did you have?
4,500.
And how many of them did Israel destroy during this genocide?
All.
Is this the first time that Israel has destroyed your olive groves?
No, the fourth time.
But in the face of all this violence and
oh, yeah.
terror, Palestinians remain. And not only do they remain, they return.
Yep.
Started to smell like Gaza.
It's really hard to eliminate a indigenous guerrilla population that has decided they don't want to leave. We refuse.
بسيبها وبطلع لا بموت بغزة وأنا بسيبها بوس ترابها قبل تروح بوس ترابها.
It's in these situations that the meaning
Dude,
of
I'd kiss the soil like, what's going on? Jesus Christ, that guy's aggro.
indigeneity is on full display. Despite having protections not afforded to Palestinians, in the face of danger, the settler flees because there's no tether to the land.
Yep.
That's why they say things like this.
Palestinians say they don't want to leave.
I don't know how they could want to stay. It's a demolition site.
I'm never surprised by things that Trump doesn't understand. He's dumb as fuck. In the words of one of his Wharton professors, the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. But two, of course you don't. You don't believe in anything. He doesn't believe in anything other than his own enrichment. There's no cause that Trump could imagine dying for. His imagination is so bereft. He could never fucking figure it out. Wharton. I don't know which fucking class. I can find out.
The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative.
Because to the settler, a good life is possible on any land. Land is just a place to live, a backdrop. It might have some excavated ideological story, but there's no relationship, no roots to keep them settled. That's why when they came to Palestine, they planted thousands of pine trees over the remnants of Palestinian villages. Trees for cover, trees for decoration, a prop. And why from when they arrived to this day, they don't seem to have difficulty burning and uprooting olive trees that are hundreds of years old. According to an Iroquois story of creation,
so it would have been William T. Kelly. And it was according to an attorney, Frank DePrima, who was close friends with William Kelly for 47 years. Quote, "It's rare for a professor to disparage the intelligence of a student, but the professor made an exception for Donald Trump. And I quote, he must have told me that 100 times over the course of 30 years. DePrima, who's been practicing law since '63 and serves for in-house counsel for entities including the Federal Trade Commission and Playboy Enterprises. Quote, he must have told me that 100 times over the course of 30 years. He was the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. I remember the inflection of his voice when he said it. Donald Trump was the dumbest goddamn student I ever had. Inflection included. He would say that Trump came to Wharton thinking he already knew everything, that he was arrogant and he wasn't there to learn. He taught marketing. Kelly passed away in 2011 at age of 94 and taught marketing at Wharton for 31 years. So there you go.
The world was made when Sky Woman fell from above and was saved by the animals below. The geese caught her, the turtle carried her, and the muskrat dove to the bottom of the sea to bring her mud that she would use to make land. She spread the mud across the turtle's back and began to sing and dance.
That's one creation story. Oh God, please do not do this weird.
It reminds me of how in Arabic we say أصحاب الأرض, which literally translates to friends of the land.
سامحنا لأن إحنا ما إحناش قادرين نحافظ عليك.
Indigeneity doesn't just mean to live on a land for ages.
Like, okay, this is going to sound weird. All right, but bear with me. It's the harming of the trees that would get me. It is. Like, don't get me wrong. I got plenty of ire to go around for a lot of harm, and especially the people. But, you know, we've covered. I'm a tree hugger from like day one. I've hugged more trees than I've hugged people. Yeah. 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 We'll just leave it at that.
If that were the case, settlers would eventually become indigenous too, and those forcibly transferred would stop being indigenous. To be indigenous means to be part of the land, part of its ecosystem, its tending, its caretaking. It's a responsibility and connection and inherited knowledge that you can't know in a lifetime. So when you remove people from their land and drop them somewhere foreign to them, you have severed the continuity of this ancient knowledge.
And our elders have told us that our job is to remember, to remember.
Unfortunately, some of it gets lost forever. But the wound this removal leaves, and the need to keep the connection alive, will always remain.
Shinasha means I am still here.
هاي رسالة من ستي اللي مواليد 1922 لترامب اللي بده يهجرنا. ما غصب عنك يا ستي بدهم يطلعونا.
ريت روحها تطلع. احنا ثابتين في الأرض زي الزيتون.
Hey, Grandma, he'd have to have one. He'd have to have one for that to happen.
If we could.
Well, that was, yeah. Let's see. All right, clear that, clear that. How is this that fucking, why are we doing this? Math isn't that complicated. Also, that video was it from 2020? No, because that would have been 2025. Because he was talking about how Trump said, like, she's 102 to 103. Yeah, text. It was because she was talking about Trump wants to displace us. Oh, that's what her great grandson was saying. Like, yeah. So she's 102 to 103, somewhere in there. I don't know. Basic math. Exactly, text. Exactly. Somewhere in there. I love that Shay put a trigger warning for Kai on that video, though. Trigger warning for Kai on turtles. Oh, dude, it's just, like, it's, oh, God, it gets me every time. I don't know why it gets me, because it's so pedantic. But, like, I don't know, man. It just gets my anarchist ire up when people, like, insist that indigenous people, dude, I'll correct indigenous people, too. Like, I don't care. Like, it bothers me when motherfuckers are like, did you know the indigenous people called North America Turtle Island? Which ones? Tell me. Tell me which tribe. Tell me which language set. Please tell me which myth origin story or origin mythos gave birth to this. Please tell me. Tell me which. Is it just indigenous? It's just You want to just go ahead and call them Indians too while we're at it? Right, let's just rip this Band-Aid off and fucking, you want to just go full? Like, it gets me every time. Gets me every time. I call America Yankee clusterfuck. You should use my term. Oh, it really is, isn't it? Gulf of Yankee clusterfuck. The law in Canada regarding indigenous people is still called the Indian Act in 2025. Dude, fucking Robbo, we still have in America the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Oh, sure, why not? Oh, yep, I work with them. Yeah. Fucking yes. It's like, dude, it's 2025. Can we admit that they're not Indians? Like, they're not Indians. There's a whole subcontinent and they don't even call themselves Indians. Like, this is a whole vibe, man. I already did my rant for the thing I do my rant on. Otherwise, I'm gonna stop there. Yeah, can we admit Columbus fucked up yet? Like, for real? No, he was a brilliant man who definitely didn't get lost and definitely knew what he was doing. 7-Eleven is the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That I could get behind. I don't know, man. Ooh. Maybe. There. Nope. There we go. Saw that. 9 minutes, huh? All right.
So here's what happened.
Back in the day.
Did we watch this? No, I don't think we did. My coworker, who's actually a Muslim from the Punjab in India, joked that we're both Indian despite being completely different. Yeah, I know, right?
So here's what happened. Back in the day, Finland's schools sucked on the level that ours suck on. When they tested the world's kids, both Finland and us were usually about the same, somewhere down the list of nations. But Finland didn't like that. So they tried some new ideas, and in no time, Finland shot to the top of the world. Their students were #1. How did they do that? That was the one question I wanted an answer to, and I went straight to see the enemy's Minister of Education. Before I could say anything, she blurted out their top secret.
It always... Michael Moore, look, I respect the shit out of Michael Moore. I disagree with his positions on firearms, but I respect the shit out of this guy. I really do. But every time I see him, I just think like old lesbian. He just looks like an old lesbian. Every fucking time. I'm like, did he show up in a Subaru? Where's his flannel? Oh, man. Yep. I love the guy, though. I really do. Most successful documentarian in the history of film. Dude is, one of my, the first proper, like, real gay date I went on, like, as a gay man. Like, we are going to go see a movie and we're gonna get coffee afterwards and the whole fucking thing, and spending the night like talking the night away because our interest clicked was seeing Fahrenheit 9/11. That was Michael. His one of his films is a formative moment in my life, and so I'm forever bound to him. But like, yeah, he could use some more based takes on the guns.
Before I could say anything, she blurted out their top secret.
They do not have homework.
Wait, so you reduce the homework you give them at school?
Yes.
Robbo, it's anything Michael Moore makes is worth seeing. Anything Michael Moore makes is worth seeing. Whether you agree with it or not, that's another matter. And whether you have your own thoughts, that's another matter. But he is a very good documentarian. Yeah, I anything he puts out, I'd watch.
Wait, so you reduce the homework you give them at school?
Yes. They should have more time to be kids, to be youngsters, to enjoy the life.
How many hours of homework did you get last night?
About 10 minutes or something.
10 minutes of homework?
Yeah. Maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
20 minutes, but not 20 minutes. Yeah.
Well, if I would have done the homework, I think it would be like 10 minutes.
Based, love her already.
Pops.
Usually I don't really do homework that much.
The whole term homework is kind of obsolete, I think. In that way that...
Your homework is obsolete?
Yeah. In that way that these kids, they have a lot other things to do after school.
Like what?
Like being together, like being with a family, like doing sports, like playing music, like reading.
So they have no homework. What if all they want to do is climb a tree?
They could climb a tree, yeah. They can climb a tree, then they learn how to climb a tree. But they'll end up, while climbing the tree, probably finding out about different insects, and they can come to school next day, tell me about what they found.
Compared to the older kids, how many hours a day do the younger ones go to school?
Mondays, 3 hours. Tuesdays, 4 hours. It varies. It's 20 hours a week.
So they're, oh man.
I love the idea that it's like, how do we improve school? Make less of it. Just do less of it. That's right out of the gates. It's how do you improve school? Do less of that. That's probably step one. Yeah.
Now, does this 3 or 4 hours at school include the lunch hour?
Yes.
How are they learning anything? How are you getting anything done?
Your brain has to relax every now and then. If you just constantly work, then you stop learning. And there's no use of doing that for a longer period of time.
Finland students have the shortest school days and the shortest school years in the entire Western world. They do better by going to school less. How many languages do you speak?
English, yeah. Swedish, Spanish.
Finnish and Swedish. Finnish, English and German.
French, German.
Finnish and English.
English, Swedish.
Yeah, most of them are going to be like 4. Most of them are going to be like 4 languages.
And French and Spanish.
Yeah.
So you were an exchange student in the U.S.?
Yeah.
When you got back here in school, what did you notice that you felt
Oh, this poor guy. This poor guy.
relieved about?
No more multiple choice exams.
No multiple choice exams here?
Or very few of them, if any.
Really?
Because all of my exams in the U.S.
How do you answer the question right if it isn't listed as one of the 4 choices?
You write your answer.
You have to know it, actually.
Yeah.
You actually have to know it.
Yeah.
If there was one thing I heard over and over again from the Finns, it was that America should stop teaching to a standardized test.
Get rid of those standardized tests.
National testing.
The standardized tests.
Standardized testings.
What you are teaching your students is to do well on those tests, and you're not really teaching them anything.
No, we are teaching them. We're teaching them how to flunk a test, and then a bunch of schools fail the test, and those schools are turned into charter schools, and then somebody makes a lot of money.
Jesus Christ. I don't know if the Finns are ready for Michael Moore degrees of sarcasm. He is notoriously sarcastic.
You speak Spanish?
And I don't think these Finnish teachers are ready for that.
But school is about finding your happiness, finding a way to learn what makes you happy.
I've been suspended.
So, which one did you in?
Hold on. I don't know actually. I'll post it.
Evening.
Multiple output. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. If I did that.
Kind of sucks that they don't tell you exactly what it was that you got banned for.
We are now live on YouTube. And just like that. Access let's see, hold on. It's not a Friday stream. Let me edit some shit. There we go. And we are, yeah, there we go. We're live on YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Yep. And okay.
Wait, can I screen copious amount of slurs since it's YouTube?
I mean, we can at least say Twitch is fucking retarded.
Yay. But we can't say the dreaded D word or the K word.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Let's see. So apparently, oh, why is that broken? Oh, our YouTube fucking icon is broken for some reason. So anyway, apparently I have posted a combination of words and emotes in chat to promote denigration based on race. I have praised or supported a hate crime, or I have advocated for the exclusion of a group based on their disability.
You said the R slur.
So
My theory is he made fun of white people.
yeah, like I would love to know what the actual specific thing is, but I have a 7-day suspension length. I will be automatically restored when access to the servers will automatically be restored when a temporary suspension is served, but the violation will remain on the account until next year.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. I'm going to appeal. Like, I'm gonna appeal. Like, yeah, view. So apparently they're concerned about my well-being, and in order to protect my privacy and the community, they removed the content.
What the fuck?
Let's see. I'm gonna appeal. Why am I writing the appeal? Why am I submitting an appeal? I'm submitting an appeal because I still don't know what exactly got me suspended. Calling, like, I'm not gonna fucking narc on anything. I'm gonna be like, okay, appeal. There we go. They won't do shit for shit. But I've submitted an appeal.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well, you mean yes? Like, it's, yeah. Like, I posted it in Commons. It's a bop for fucking hateful content, apparently.
Yeah, I just don't know. It's weird. Huh.
Either way. Yeah, that was special. Yeah, so anyway, back to Michael Moore. Yeah, also I'm wondering why let's see, hold on. So that would be that file. Hold on. Let me check something really quickly. So okay, hold on. It wouldn't be that file. Now I'm wondering, let's see, dual, there we go. Where does this file lead me? There we go. Stream chat. Chat. All right, that one. YouTube, chat messages, bubbles. Why, yeah. Don't know why. YouTube. That is weird. I'm gonna have to investigate. But for now, the YouTube image is just broken in chat. That's how that's gonna be for until I can work on it. Let's see.
Oh, there it is. Oh, I didn't see that. A boomer ass.
And all right, so let's see. There we go. And link in Commons. Oops. There's the live stream. All right. Kvass is bad. Well, you know.
Sucks.
Fucking. All right. Yeah, they're calling it. I've got live stream emergency fucking we're concerned about your well-being shit.
Like against you, or
yeah,
I wasn't really I was sort of like just lurking, so I wasn't paying attention to the chat, so I don't know.
I think you're crashing out, Kai.
Let's see.
Yeah. Maybe you need a break anyways.
You know, I could use I could take the rest of the week off.
I mean, if you said your day was as shitty as it was, I mean, I don't know what you got going on, man, but maybe this is a sign for you to back the fuck up and be like, 7 days might be good for you. Put in the appeal, you know, and just let it ride and yeah, take a break.
I could use the rest of the week off.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it, man.
All right. Let's see. It's 7 days actually.
Yeah, I mean, we could do bad movie night still, and I mean, do Discord shit, but you know.
Twitch.
Game night?
Let's see. 19 to do. So yeah, they're saying 7 days from, so the 26th would be back on air, on Twitch at least. Hold on. Extra vacation days or something like that. Let's see. Hateful conduct. Yeah, like I'm gonna read this fucking section. All right. That's off service conduct. Hateful conduct. There we go. Twitch aims to be a place where everyone can come together in shared community experience. This vision is threatened when people experience harmful rhetoric, and abuse on Twitch. Twitch does not permit behavior that is motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, including behavior that promotes or encourages discrimination, denigration, harassment, or violence based on the following protected characteristics: race, ethnicity, color, caste, national origin, immigration status, religion, sex, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, serious medical condition, and veteran status. At what point did I do any of that? Let's see. Certain protections for age as well. We defined protected groups as a subset of the population with a shared protected characteristic.
Maybe because you were talking about the old lady?
Let's see. I did not promote, glorify, threaten, or advocate violence, physical harm, or death against an individual. In fact, I put that down several times. Incite or promote violence against a protected group. Example, kill all of the protected group. Promote or express a desire for a protected group to be infected and or die from a serious disease. Didn't do that.
Did someone report you?
I mean, they'd have to. Yeah, they'd have
Yeah.
to.
How much you want to bet is that one guy?
Tell a user to kill themselves. Modify video game content to promote violence. Glorify specific hate crimes or mass violent acts or the perpetrations of such acts. Didn't even get close to that this stream. Suggest that the victim of a hate crime deserved to be harmed. Use hateful slurs, either untargeted or directed towards another individual. We allow certain words or terms which might otherwise violate our policy to be used in empowering ways, Jesus Christ, or in terms of endearment when such intent is clear. We also make exceptions for slurs in music and singing along to music. That's a new one. As long as the song itself is not hateful and the slurs are not combined with other discriminating or denigrating content. Enter examples. The worst you did was call Michael Moore a lesbian. Enter a chat and spam a slur, target an individual with a slur, include a slur in a profile content, call another player a slur while streaming. Post, upload, or otherwise share hateful. Oh, here we go. Wait, hold on. Post, upload, or otherwise share hateful images or symbols, including symbols of established hate groups and Nazi-related imagery.
Oh. That's rich.
Yeah, it's like stream with a Confederate flag in the background, wear a t-shirt with the arrow cross, post a swastika or SS bolts, create speech imagery or emote combinations that dehumanize or perpetuate negative stereotypes and or memes, black, brown, yellow, red face, negative stereotypes such as greedy or unintelligent, content, so like, greedy Jew, that sort of thing, I'm guessing. Content perpetuating negative associations between an animal and a protected group. Content comparing a protected group to insects, pets, so dehumanizing language. Content suggesting the protected group are subhuman. Content insinuating that the individuals with certain protected characteristics are criminals or terrorists. But again,
it's almost like Israel made the rules for this one.
But again, like none of these are like this. I'm looking forward to what this appeal has to say. They'll just deny the appeal and they won't include a reason. I've been through this once before, and I won that appeal, and they still have my account restricted. By the way, years fucking on after I got bopped for saying that the right wing wants to kill trans kids. They bopped my account and then they apologized. I still have the apology email saved from Twitch. They fucked up and they apologized, and my account still has a restricted status applied to it. I still can't get access to a bunch of features on Twitch because of that. Let's see.
Are you banned now? Like, that's it?
It's 7 days. It's a temp. Let's see. Content in referring to protected group as property, intentionally referring to someone using a pronoun or form of address how many fucking times? Okay, so if you intentionally misgender somebody on Twitch, you're violating the hateful conduct policy. How many fucking times have we dealt with motherfuckers and mass reported motherfuckers for shit like that, and they do nothing? Get fucked.
None. But they're not streaming.
They're not the radical left.
Let's see. Yup, eugenics and shit. Fucking.
The generation name? That's why you got. Sorry, I've only been awake for like 5 minutes, so.
Professionals.
We're calling them Gen X.
I am working my way through this fucking list, and I swear to Christ, fucking support for white supremacist or nationalist ideologies. Again, I'm directly criticizing it. Expressions of contempt, hatred, or disgust based on protected characteristics. Again, being a Trump supporter is not a protected characteristic. So,
yeah, this is retarded.
Like, that's not how that works. Again, unprotected group, protected group, protected group. Yeah. We prohibit the use of terms that may not be harmful or abusive in isolation, but can be used as a slur to denigrate others. This is where they use the dreaded Zionist word. So Zionist, like prohibited example, Zionist name of animal. I can't imagine what porcine animal might make the list on that one. Allowed example, Zionist settlers keep encroaching upon Palestinian borders.
What?
So you can't call him a Zionist pig, but you can say Zionist settlers are encroaching upon Palestinian borders. And that's the end of the hate fucking conduct section. That's it, man. That section's over at that point.
Does that mean there's another whole section we don't know about?
Oh, there's so many sections. Are you kidding me? Like
Jesus fucking Christ.
The community guidelines for a streamer is fucking it's encyclopedic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
well, that's so dumb. Can you guys do this on Discord during the week?
I'm not gonna do
But
that.
that doesn't reach people outside of Discord.
No, Justin, just a 7-day temp, and we don't know for what. I mean, we know it's for hateful conduct, but we don't know for what. They didn't give shit.
It was totally that guy, the fucking boom guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I appealed it. We'll see where it goes. But
I came on, I'm like, oh, Kai didn't stream. And I'm like, oh, he did stream. And then I saw that you guys got booped. And I was like, oh, damn it. I miss all the fun.
yeah, I'll put it on screen for people. There you go. Okay, so something between this one and this one isn't working because my browser overlay link is still working. So I gotta fucking, oh God, that's gonna be a bitch to fucking troubleshoot. So yeah, here's the being mean to a Trumper might be a hate crime on Twitch. Yeah, they're not a protected group. Everything is
probably eventually it will be. So
yeah,
you laugh now, but
oh, that's a good point.
I'm gonna laugh then too.
Wow. Cry.
Fucking crybabies.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
just self-medicate.
How are you in trouble? The rest of the world is like on top, controlling shit. He has a fucking king, a king on his. He's a king on the fucking government website, and we're in trouble. Okay, sorry.
So yeah. Anyway,
I had the crown on his head. It was a little crazy, a little much.
I wouldn't give a shit in the hat, but you know, here we are.
Well, I will decide.
People start dragging people from the White House. I don't believe anything's gonna happen.
Then I will decide.
Things have to get so much worse before things get better, guys. That's.
I'll decide later today. I'll probably decide tomorrow sometime. Tomorrow's gonna be a motherfucker of a day, so I will see how I feel. But yeah, I kind of like the idea of just taking a few days off.
Oh yeah. I mean, you should see what happens and stuff because that's your.
Just chill out.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a divine sign.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Down with Twitch.
Hold on. Give me a second. Because I'm pretty sure.
There's so much estrogen in this chat today.
I'm pretty sure, like, if you have a sub to the.
I have no estrogen.
I'm pretty sure if you have a sub on the account, you may have to redo your subscription. Like if you do have like some sort of sub on the account, because when we get bopped, some shit, usually those get like auto canceled and shit.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
That everyone should complain about that if that happens.
Yeah,
because that's fucked.
So
Oh.
that's a thing too.
Twitch is retarded.
Yeah, it is. Big dumb. Well,
I think now would be a great time to watch Another Fucking Day. It's really good.
Either way. Okay, so yeah, all right. YouTubers and stuff, I am going to stop streaming now. Dude, yeah, it's stupid policy. Either way, I'm gonna stop streaming for tonight at least, and we'll see where tomorrow lands and stuff like that, dude. This fucking broken icon shit is gonna be driving me nuts. But like, yeah, we'll go with that. I may have to just do a test stream or something. Oh God, I don't want to know. I mean, how I can fucking troubleshoot this.
All right, you guys take it easy.
Later.
No worries. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Let's see.
Bye-bye.
All right, then I'm just gonna kill YouTube. Catch y'all later. We might be in VC for a little bit, but either way, have a good rest of your nights and that sort of shit.